solo.
And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. I'm really excited about today. This game is bananas in the best ways. It's very, very good. I absolutely love this game. This was a review copy sent to me by Nemesis.Games. So thanks again to the team over there. They have been awesome, not only in getting me this game, but responding to email questions that I had to make sure I'm understanding all the rules correctly. So Dirk and the rest of the guys over there, just absolutely awesome. There are so many good things I want to say about this game, and I will definitely get there. So, um, where do I start? I mean, I'm like overwhelmed. My head has so many things I want to say. Let me wrap up, put a bow on Saltlands, and I'll do that as I start shuffling some of these decks, and I'll kind of explain rules as I go. So Saltlands was the playthrough I did on Friday. That was a gift sent to me by a patron. So it was a patron challenge from Philip. Please go check out the comments. Philip wrote 2 comments that I really appreciate, and I do think they kind of flesh out a little bit more about some of the things I was saying in a very important way. So Adam JC916, so excited for this playthrough. I have the Kickstarter and don't get to play it enough. No, it is freaking awesome. So yeah, so they sent me the review copy of this, and after like a play, I was like, this game's awesome. And I jumped in on the latest Kickstarter, which is going to add, because it's really happy to support them. They're just a good, they're doing good things in the industry, man. So I'm really happy to support them. And so looking forward to the next expansion, which is coming out. But that will probably hopefully deliver sometime next year. So at this point, there is this base game, and then I do have they also sent me a review copy of the Arch-Nemesis expansion. I will get that on the channel at a future date. Excited to jump into that. I like to take my times with games and make sure I understand all the content before I add anything additional. But anyway, back to Saltlands. Philip pointed out that the game is probably a lot better two-handed solo, and I have played 3 games of it two-handed solo. I included the epic rules that come with the expansion of Saltlands, and I actually very much agree with Philip that it is a much better game multi-handed. There's just a pacing that's a little bit less frenetic, a little bit less chaotic, and there's some things about hand management and decision space that open up and make it a much more engaging game for the player. It doesn't radically change my opinion of the game. My complaints about the game are still my complaints. I just think it makes it an overall better experience. So I want to be fair to the game, fair to the designer, and make sure I thought that was important to say. So, again, if you really like that Mad Max world and you really want to look for a post-apocalyptic crazy game like that, you like some hand management, and you like some of what you saw, in my playthrough, again, it's still the same game multi-handed, but it just opens up a little bit more. The raiders don't activate every turn like they do true solo, so there's like a pacing thing, and there's more like strategies that you can try multi-handed. So I would definitely take another look at that if that is something that's of all interest to you. All right. Where do where am I going to start with the setup here? So I just shuffled the quest deck. Quests are going to be things that we have options to do during the round. There are 4 rounds. Actually, there are 4 chapters. So every chapter there will be 3 quests, generally speaking, and that those will give us an option of how to spend our activation points. We will have to play as 2 factions, even when you're playing solo, and we'll be up against 2 factions. This world is set in a far. It's amazing. An amazing world that was created here by the team at Nemesis.Games. You have basically this evil imperial legion kind of thing, and they were like ruling this world. They're like the Iron Fist, but there was like some kind of magical rift that opened up, and in that rift entered the chaos, and the chaos has like skeletons and hordes and The chaos has turned most of this world into an icy wasteland, but what we'll have in front of us is going to be what remains of the land. And the chaos is trying to march from the icy iceland toward the capital just to destroy everything in their path. And meanwhile, the legion is trying to march from the capital to basically reclaim what is left of the land. So they are warring against each other. They're also warring against us. We are in desperation now, seeing what remains of our world kind of collapsing before our eyes. We're trying to basically reclaim what is ours and fight off both of these factions, even while they fight each other. We cooperate, but we don't totally trust each other yet. So literally the rule book for the expansion, the first expansion, Arch-Nemesis, is literally just a big story with amazing artwork. I would highly, highly recommend it. It's very, very cool. So we have Jens, can't wait for this to deliver. When is it scheduled for? And gives me a super chat. Thank you so much for the support to the channel. I very much appreciate that. The first Kickstarter already delivered last year. This Kickstarter, I don't know what the timeline is. I don't even think they've reached the pledge manager stage yet. So, and I expect that when the pledge manager is open, I will do another playthrough then. And I'm already in conversations with Dirk and the team that they might actually join me for a little bit of Q&A beforehand. So I think that would be awesome. So stay tuned for that. If you missed the Kickstarter, pledge starter is still going to be open. The pledge manager is still going to be open, I think, sometime in the next month or two. So I do want to talk about the Tom Bassel review of this game because Tom Bassel's Tom Bassel, and a lot of people have a very non-critical view of what he says. I thought that review was very poor. And I don't mind that Tom didn't get this game. This game would not be for everybody, but I felt his review was very, very misleading. And you could watch that review and you could come away thinking that this is just a more complicated, more luck-based, longer version of Pandemic. I assure you, none of that is true. It's cooperative, so it has that in common with Pandemic. You also could come away thinking this is a very generic fantasy universe, and I hope what I've said so far will assure you that this is far from generic. I have never seen anything quite like this game. The world that they've created is rich, it's deep, it's interesting, it's engaging, the characters are awesome. Every faction has a male and a female character. And it's not like overhanded about it, but I assure you not a single female character looks like the fantasy tropes of normal, which I appreciate. Like, it is just absolutely very, very cool. And the expansion factions make it that much cooler from what I've seen, and I'm looking forward to diving into them. I will just be sticking with the base game factions today. So that review, I think it's terrible. It is what it is. It's another opinion out there, but please look at other reviews. I know Table Knots, I think I did a video about this that I thought was really good. I know Adam Smith from Rolling Solo loves this game, so lots of good things, lots of good vibes. Colin from One Stop Co-op Shop did a playthrough of this. I didn't watch that whole thing. I don't think he did all 4 chapters because looking at the length of the video, but there's a chance he did, so don't totally quote me on that. But yes, this game is freaking awesome, and I wish Vassal, found somebody else, did a 4 corners, or found, because he's like, I know so many people that love it. Like, well, get somebody on there that's going to give you a counterpoint that's actually going to know what they're talking about, because he did not in his video, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I don't mean to come out too aggressive about it. I get really frustrated when some of these bigger channels do reviews that just are very misleading. Again, that's like kind of the word I'll keep coming back to. So here we are. I digress. So we are going to get these chunky, amazing dice off the game board so I can start fleshing this out. And so I shuffle the quest, I shuffle the items. Those are things that we'll be able to acquire. They're all very cool. And you'll see down here we have starting resources for our 2 factions. So let's go ahead and figure out what 2 factions I'm going to play as. These are our player boards. So we have the base game has the Moyar, the Droon, the Durkar, and the Crow, right? All very cool, different factions. I mean, there's not as much asymmetry as you might want, but there is still a fair amount of asymmetry, not only within the faction, but also within what hero you're playing, because each faction has 2 heroes, and you only play 1. So very cool. And again, the asymmetry gets even more dramatic when you start getting into the expansion factions. I'm going to roll a d6 to determine who my starting factions are. So my first faction, which will be over here, that's a 5. That's not helpful. Here's a 2, so we're going to be playing as the Droon. Story time with Greg. For ages, the Droon roamed the plains and forests of Azul as small packs of nomadic hunters and traders. Even if the other races often met them with distrust and even fear of their strangeness, their reputation as trading partners was without blame. However, the Droon never settled down, even though the villages and towns built by the Moyar and the Empire promised prosperity and comfort. The Droon preferred to wander about the lands in their tents like banks of mist, unfathomable and full of secrets. A few caravans sought contact with the outside world to trade goods, but most of the communities remained hidden. Those small packs were each led by an archon. Those enchanted ghost stones carried by these leaders, the archons were connected with the spirits of their ancestors, who advised them of all decisions with their knowledge and wisdom. When the curse hit Azul, the ancestral spirits summoned all the surviving Droon, knowing that their only chance of survival was a union of all forces. So the Droon, nebulous wanderers, they are a society of nomads with a trader way of life. Trader, not traitor. Leader type is Archon, and they have 10,000 survivors. Now, I'm not going to be able to use these sideboards are amazing, but I am going to cover up some of it to make all of this fit on camera. All right. So we'll have the Droon over here. I'll still pick their leader in a second. Their leader is either going to be Fëanor, the Archon, or Syndra, the Witch, and I will get all of their little units here, and we'll set that up in a second. So who's going to be my second faction for today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I rolled a 5. We have what are their names? The Dakar. I'm sure I'm butchering all of these names. Story time with Greg. The Dakar belonged to the original inhabitants of Azul. Once they followed the great Koloth herds on the plains as nomadic hunters, but as the predatory Moyar raided the islands with their ships, the Dakar retreated into the hostile environment of the great mountain ranges. Untouched and almost forgotten, the Dakar established a new life there. The harsh environment formed the slender-statured people into an efficient and hardened community. The Council of Elders has decided since that time on the fate of each individual. The Council of Elders has decided since that time on the fate of each individual. Sorry about that. And a strict code of honor assigns every member a permanent place in the community. There is little room for individuality and even less room for missteps. The welfare of each clan and its survival are the daily focus of the Dakar. And when the curse devastated the lowlands of Azul and caused the oceans to freeze, the Council of Elders decided to give up the isolation of the Dakar, since chaos threatened to destroy the livelihood of their people once and for all. The Dakar, unbending Highlanders, and their leader will be Yanni or Barinth. I'll put them here, and again, we're covering up a little bit of the sideboard, but that is going to work. Quetzal said, never heard of this game before. And Jen said, Tom Bessel has gone off the rails years ago. Yeah, I basically said as much in a Reddit thread. The Tom Vassal Fanboy Club is alive and well, I assure you of that. So I'm going to take the I wish they put the name to these factions like on the front. That's like the one like minor graph. Like just put it up front because I always forget the names. The Droon. I'm gonna put the Droons home world, which is here. I'm going to put that up top. This is good. Their their home thing is the Yafsagog. For ages, the Droon roamed the plains and forests of Azul as small packs of nomadic hunters and traders. Even if the other races often met them with distrust and even fear of their strangeness, their reputation as trading partners was without blame, and their home world's going to go up there. On their home world, we're going to put one of their havens. I'm going to put the other 4 havens on their board. I'll do that in a second. Let me go ahead and pick their leader right now. So 1, 2, 3 will be Syndra. 4, 5, or 6 will be Fëanor. I rolled a 1. We have Syndra the Witch. All right, so she will come down here. Yeah, we're just going to have her a little bit off camera, but that's fine. So she has stats at the bottom, and if I expand her stats, which you'll see how that will work, I'll just have to make it work on the side. So this game is huge. This is as far as my camera goes out. So we are kind of gonna make the best of it, but I was able to get most of it on. I'm pretty happy with that. So Syndra comes with her deck of 10 feats. Every hero has their own deck of 10 feats, and we're going to find her 2 starting feats. So her 1 starting feat is Beastmasters. It has a clash ability, which we'll explain as we go. Her other starting action is a teleport. You can pay 1 salt to place Syndra on any hex. Against starting resources, she has 5 plunder, 5 salt, and 5 food. The food looks like an elephant. The salt looks like crystals, and the plunder looks like bricks. But I like the uniqueness of the names there for sure. So I'm going to take Syndra's, the rest of Syndra's cards over here. Fire Norse cards are going to go back in our little box for the Droon. I'm going to shuffle the rest of Syndra's feats. Again, there are 8 remaining, and I'll put them underneath her faction board, and then let's get the rest of these factions out. So we have 2 Beastmasters, 2 Rangers, and I will have to they're gonna have to stand up just for space, but during battles and stuff, I'll try to lay them down so you can kind of see the artwork. But the artwork's very cool. The artwork also has every artwork for a unit has a die on it, and that just indicates what die that unit rolls in combat. Some units will roll dice only in clash rounds. Others will roll in both clash and melee rounds. Clash and not melee. Clash and melee are pretty much the same thing. We'll roll die in ranged and clash rounds. So I have 4 Sword Sisters. I have 3 Sons of the Bow. They are archers. I have 2 Beastmasters. They are elite riders. And I have 2 Rangers. Every unit also shows you their cost of what it costs to make one of them or build one of them, or to train one of them thematically, right? And so the basic warrior sword sisters cost a salt and a plunder. The basic archers cost 3 salt. The basic the elite rider beastmasters cost 2 salt and 3 food. And the rangers are excellent. They are rangers, so they attack both in ranged and in clash. They cost 4 salt and 2 plunder. The remaining 4 havens from the box are just going to go up and cover here. As you put more havens on the board, you're unlocking more resource production for future chapters. So again, it's a lot of games like Great Western Trail, like Scythe, your benefits get increased as you take things off your board and put them out on the game, take them off your player board and put them onto the game board. We also have this thing here. This is going to be our point marker for the Droon, and I'll just match this up on here. So this point markers for the chaos. Again, those are like the hordes and the skeletons and all that stuff. This is for the legion. So the Imperials, you have, again, their legions and their garrisons, and now we have the point marker for the Droon on top of that. I'm going to get this off and this off. We don't need these home planets. And now we have the homeworld for the Drakar. They live in Katrak and Katil. The Drakar belong to the original inhabitants of Azul. Once they followed the great Kaloth herds on the plains as nomadic hunters, but as a predatory Moyar raided them, the Drakar fled to the great mountain ridges. Now, you will note that the homeworld for the Droon is the woods. The homeworld for the mountains, the Drakar is the highlands. That will have some effect on gameplay. We'll talk about the effect of terrain in combat as we go. So I do need to get the units for the Drakar, and let me roll a die to determine my leader. 1, 2, 3 will be Baranth. 4, 5, or 6 will be Yanni. I rolled a 5. Yanni it is. We're gonna Yanni it up, people. And Yanni will fit right next to my ugly mug. That's perfect. So we have 2 strong female characters leading the way. I'm going to put the Drakar token over there. Oh, Baranth lost his base. Sorry, Baranth. He's very upset that he's not in play today. Oop. Put this right back. One of the things I will say, so when I first saw this on different videos, I wasn't like that enamored with the standees. They kind of looked a little bit like kids' toys. I will tell you, in person, they are awesome. Like, I very much like the standees. I like how it saves space. I like how it makes this is not a cheap game, but it does make it a bit cheaper to have the standees. Not a ton cheaper. Standee molds are still expensive, and one thing that was new, and talking to the design team, it was pretty cool. Like, they talked to me the process of like finding colored acrylics, because that was kind of new for the manufacturing company that they were working with and stuff like that. But these standees are awesome. The art is very cool, and absolutely love what they did here. So now I'm going to shuffle up the other feats of Yanni. Her 2 starting feats are as follows. She has Kaloth, Archery, and Clash. Discard this and destroy your Kaloth here to ignore all damage on your enemy's dice. And then we have the Elder. add any 1 die to any of your rolls outside of combat. So there are rolls that we're making during combat. There will be rolls outside of combat. This only applies to rolls outside of combat, and we'll kind of see the importance of that. And then we have all the resources for Yanni, which I'll just kind of put here. Again, it's the 5 salt, the 5 plunder, and the 5 food. I'm putting a haven on Katrak Katil. And now we have our units. So we have 3 Oathsworns. We have 1 Kalith. That's it. He's a big, giant, freaking massive elephant who rolls a glorious die, but that's all you get. And then we'll put the other 4 havens here. We're going to have the Oathsworn, 5 younglings, and we have 3 sword singers. The younglings and the not sword singers, spear singers. The younglings and the spear singers both cost either 2 salt or 2 plunder. So you can't do 1 and 1. It's either 2 salt or 2 plunder to make them. The Oath Sworn are elite warriors. They cost 2 salt and 3 plunder. And the Kalith is very expensive. He is 4 salt and 3 food. So finding ways to make the resources we're going to need to make those is going to be pretty important. And I'm going to put this tray over here. By the way, all these trays come with the game. The storage system in the box, the way the game came, is amazing. And the production value in general, the only company that I would say does it better is Chip Theory. And honestly, you could make an argument that Nemesis almost does it better. I mean, the quality is astoundingly good. Yeah, considering it's not like the PVC and the chips and the plastic that there is plastic in here, obviously, but it's just the quality of production is absolutely insane. They really did. They went all out in producing this game, and it's cool. It definitely, is something I very much appreciate. This game, it's not waterproof like Too Many Bones, but it's the next best thing for sure. So we're going to roll a die to determine our sea towers. So in a 2-player map, there are going to be 2 sea towers on the board to start the game. So let me roll a d8 because there's only 7 sea towers in the box. That's an 8. That's not helpful. That's an 8. That's not helpful. That's a 2. I'm going to put this over here. That's where one of the 2 sea towers will go. Let me roll a d6. We'll get the second sea tower on here. I rolled a 1. That sucker goes right here. The rest of those go in the box. Now have all of these tiles. Notice in the center we have the capital. The capital is obviously the home of the Legion. Norngard, the only real city left after the curse, soon became the capital, and there are special rules on that. I'll explain as we go. I'm going to take the rest of these tiles. We're going to shuffle them up. The production team from Nemesis.Games is very proud of these tiles. These are made of a very heavy-duty material. I mean, it seems like it's still cardboard, but they're pretty intense, and these suckers can definitely take a beating. And I wouldn't be that worried about their durability long term, to be honest with you, even though you're shuffling them a lot. So I'm going to do a random cut, one more cut, and boom, here we go. So I'm going to put these 10 of these tiles out, starting here, going down, there, and there, going down, and we will see what comes out. So there we have an unexplored hex. The hexes on the back side, when they're unexplored, will tell you generally what kind of resources you can expect to get if you explore the hex. So this, you can expect to get some food. This one, you can expect to get some salt. This one, you can expect to get some plunder, another plunder. We're putting a plunder up here. We have a food, so we're getting a nice variety. I mean, the worst thing is if you get like all salt or something else. This is getting a pretty nice variety. Getting 2 options for plunder and 1 option for food to the Droon is very important. So this is already setting up to be a good setup for us. All right. That's a salt, and here's a salt. And then we have 1 of each down here for the Dukar. Putting this in the box. Checking out the comments. Homeworlds and planets. Did I say planet? I probably said planet. I don't know. I got so much going on. All right, I'm going to take these activation points. These like little red gems represent activation points. So we're going to put 8 on top of Syndra's face. She's like, why you put that on my face? So Syndra has some flavor text. She's a Droon sorcerer. When Syndra's pack was ambushed and murdered for their trade goods, she fled into the woods and became one with the land. And over here we have Yanni, the Jakar elder. In her long life, Yanni has withstood many trials and conquered both men and mountains. The curse and its horrors will call on her wisdom and strength in her people's greatest test yet. Now you will see some stats on each of these. Syndra's stats, she has 0 might, but she has 3 magic, 0 lead, and 1 guile. That determines how many dice she can roll if she was going to try to do a quest. And there are other times we'll say, hey, roll your hero dice. Those are the hero dice you roll. Important to this game is hero dice are not rolled during combat, but there are certain abilities that will only take place if the hero is on the hex where combat takes place. And again, we'll see that pretty quickly in this game. Yanni's stats are 1 might, 1 magic, 1 lead, and 1 guile. She also adds any die she wants to any of her rolls outside of combat, so that's always important to remember. And where the stats come into play, beyond just rolling dice, there are often items. Items will tell you, hey, a leader can only use this if they have this stat in this category. So there are certain items that come out. So if we had an item that came out that needed 2 might, neither of our heroines here would be able to take it. I'm going to now shuffle up the events. These events will radically drive the game forward. And I was thinking a lot about, especially because one of my big complaints about Saltlands was the amount of randomness. There is a lot of randomness in this game. Don't get me wrong. I think it's within a system that supports all the randomness and gives you a consistent gameplay from time to time. That said, there are games that I've been in chapter 1 and realized I don't have a chance. I just restart. So it is what it is. The whole goal in this game is that by the end of the game, we want more points than both the Legion, the Imperials, and the Chaos, right? So, and that's for both of our factions. So if the Droon are up to 65 and they have more than both the Chaos and the Imperials, but you know the Port Dakar are back in 41 and the Chaos and the Imperials are around 50 to 60, which is generally where they end up, at least in my games. I've definitely had games where they had more, I've had games where they had less. That's not a win. We need both of our factions to be ahead of both of theirs. All right, so I just shuffled the chapter 1 cards. Let me roll a d8 here. There are 7 cards, and this is a 3. I'm just going to try to squeeze these into the corner a little bit because, again, I'm taking up some of the sideboard. So the rest of those chapter 1 cards can go out of play. I'm going to do the same for the chapter 2, the chapter 3, and the chapter 4. Bam, I rolled a 5. Chapter 2 cards in play here. This goes out. I'm going to shuffle up the chapter 3 cards. I rolled an 8, not helpful. Why do I keep rolling 8s? Speaking of 8, that's enough. That's insane. All right, I rolled a 3. Roll those 8s when I want 8s. All right, that goes there. And then last but not least, we have chapter 4. Along the left side of the board, you will see a chapter track. The chapter track is amazing. The number of things they did, like, look, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of, like, there's some rules ambiguities. There are some parts of the rulebook that aren't amazing. There were definitely a lot of questions I had. I did spend a lot of time on BGG threads. And as I said before, I emailed the publisher a lot of questions over the last few weeks. But one of the things I will say that's amazing about this game is that it does fast track you into being able to play the game. Will you play it perfectly without rules mistakes? No. Will you be able to play the game at least a lot quicker than some other games? Yes. The player aids are great. So you have a double-sided player aid here, which is great. You have a frequently overlooked rules card and a dice distribution card, which is here. That's also great. You have this chapter track, which really helps take you through every round. That's great. I'm very, very impressed. You have a rule book with an index, which is great. Like all of what they did to really try to get you playing this game quicker, I really appreciate. You know, just able to get this out. I was able to get it going. Again, not perfectly, but definitely got it going in a way that I really liked. We have 3 more decks to shuffle. So we have the Druid cards here. Druid cards are like god powers that you'll have available during combat. Generally speaking, there are some exceptions to that. I'm going to roll a d10. There are 9 of these Druid powers, and I rolled a 4. That's going to go there. I'm going to roll a d8 to get the rest of these out. That's a 2. I'm going to roll a d8 again because I have 7 left. I managed to not roll an 8 there. There's a 7. And then we have 6 left, so I'll roll a d6, and that's a 6. I'm going to now figure out our Horde and our Legion decks. So there are 10 different Horde cards. This is, again, including one from the expansion, or one from the expansion. I'm going to shuffle them up now in a 2-player game, which I'm setting up a multi-handed, a 2-handed solo game, right? So I'm throwing them around. In a 2-player game, you're going to have 5 Horde and 5 Chaos. That's the same thing, 5 Horde and 5 Legion. if you had, for every additional player, you would just add 1 to the deck. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That goes here. Yoink. This will go in the box. And then over here, I'm going to shuffle these up. And we're going to take 5 of these. They, again, will very much change the game and how you need to approach it. All of these legions and chaos, legions and hordes have immediate impacts when they come in. Some have spawning instructions, and they will all make your life super hard. Again, the legion starts in the center, and then I didn't see it, but just to ensure randomness, we have the legion will have a target and will move toward their target. The chaos will make their way from the outside and steadily move toward the capital, again destroying everything on their way. There are activation rules for both of them. This little cheat sheet is amazing. So those are shuffled. So I have a couple more things to put on the board. I'm playing on Apocalyptic, so all the card numbers that I just mentioned, that is assuming the Apocalyptic setting. You'll see that a lot of cards will have like a red skull in the top right. Those are more advanced cards. As you're learning the game, it's recommended that you don't have those cards in the deck, and then you can add a certain number based on how you are increasing the difficulty. Honestly, once you add the cards, separating them out, it's like a pain. So I just like basically went from like easy difficulty right to Apocalyptic, and my win rate was very much suffering as a result. But it was how I learned the game and how I had more fun learning the game. And I don't find it, I appreciate the different gradients, but I don't think it's realistic for a lot of people to really like, oh, I'm gonna want to sort my deck after every game. It's like, no, once they're all shuffled in, they're all shuffled in. Just know that all of the cards are thrown in, and some of those cards are really hard. And those includes like some of the hordes that are a special sort of nasty, some of the items that are a little bit trickier to use well, some of the quests that are pretty nasty. So we'll see all that come out. So in this setup, we're gonna have a curse here. We're gonna have a curse here. We're going to have a skeleton here. We're going to have a skeleton here. And since we're playing an Apocalyptic, we have to add at least 1 more curse. I'll just add that right there. Additionally, we're going to have 3 garrisons on the capital. 3 garrisons, that's 1 building. Well, it is in 1 building in 3 parts. Each of those parts equals the same thing. Each of those equals 1 garrison, right? So as they get higher, they just get smaller because you're making these cool little buildings there. And then we're going to have 1 garrison in each hex that surrounds the capital. Just like so. So that's our starting board, right? So the Legion starts, they have garrisons on 7 different lands. The Horde starts with curses in 3 different lands, and now we just have to try to make that work. Am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing anything. Checking this stat, checking the comments, seeing nothing there. We're good to go. Let's get to it, I think, right? Right? Nothing else. I think I said it all. I have my starting resources. We got our feats, everything's set up. Let's make it happen. So we're gonna go to the chapter track. The first thing we're gonna do is reveal 1 druid. I randomized them when I laid them out, so I'm just gonna flip 1 over. We have Tree Mother. As a god power in either archery or clash, if I roll a lightning bolt, which is this symbol here, so that is 2 lightning bolts. If I roll a lightning bolt once a round, I can place my cheapest unit in my reserves into the battle, right? That's super huge. So if I roll a lightning bolt, it's like, oh great, let me get this back in. Now note, my units, the Droon are going to be a lot more likely to use lightning bolts than the Drakor. Drakar are going to roll a lot more shields. They're going to roll a lot more lightning bolts, but either way, that's a cool power, and it's good to have. We're going to flip all of our face down cards back face up. Well, we have no flipped cards face down, so we don't have to worry about that in the first round. We're going to regain our 8 action points. Well, we already have our action points to start the game, so now we go to deal 3 new items. The first item off the deck is the Orb of Storms. If a leader has 2 magic, which again, Syndra can take this, she can buy this for 2 salt by doing a market action, and once she has it during the action phase, she could discard this to move 1 horde or legion to an adjacent hex without activating that. That's a great way to move a horde or a legion where you want them. The terrain has a big impact on battles, and putting a horde or legion where you want the battle to happen is a way that you can make a battle happen on your terms that are most advantageous to you. So that's something I will strongly consider buying with Syndra just to have it. All right, we're going to deal 2 more items. The second item here is the dragon fruits. It costs 3 salt. That's very expensive, but then you get to discard this. You gain 5 food, and every other player gains 2. It's a nice resource boon, but again, you're trading out 3 salt to get 5 food, and then the other player gets 2. So you're basically spending 3 to get 7. Might not be totally worth it because you also have to spend an action point. So it just depends on where you're at with your action point system here. Now note, it says actions. This does not cost an action to play. It just means that you can only play this during the actions part of a round. So that's an important distinction. And then the third item we have available is the Abad War Paint. During Clash, I could discard this to gain 1 red die toward my Clash roll, but that's before rolling, and my hero has to be on the hex for my faction to use that. So those are our 3 items. Note, if at any point an item goes away, if empty, draw an item, so they immediately replace, and you will cycle the item deck over the course of a round. 3 quests. Our first quest is Cleanse the Wastes. So this is one of those harder cards that has that little skull. Immediate, Legions of Undead, place 2 skeletons on an empty hex in each region that has no skeletons. Well, what are the regions? If you look in the Icy Waste, you will see some writing. So this is the Howling White region that spans from here all the way out to here. We have the Screaming Sea region, which spans from here to here, and we have the Foggrave region, which spans from here to here. The skeletons, we already have a skeleton in the Howling White. We already have a skeleton in the Screaming Sea, so we have to add 2 skeletons somewhere in the Foggrave. There are 12 skeletons total. If you ever have to add a skeleton and you have no more in the supply, instead of adding a skeleton, the chaos gets a point. That's a mechanic that we'll refer to a lot. It's a pretty standard mechanic in the game. I could put them anywhere I want in the Foggrave. I will just go ahead and put them over here with that curse because they like the curses. It just makes sense for them. Now, the annoying thing about this thing, normally at the beginning of a new round, all quests go away and you deal 3 new quests. This quest is not discarded until it's solved. When's it solved? Well, if there are 0 skeletons on the map, each player gains 3 points, and then we discard the quest. So until all the skeletons are taken care of, all 4 of these skeletons, then we are basically stuck with that out there, which is going to limit our ability to see better quests. A Deal with Demons, another card that has the skull in the top right. By the old gods, she's not suggesting that. So how do these quests work? The quest will have, generally speaking, 3 different ways to solve them. This is a special quest, so we're just not going to worry about that. This is very different. The normal quest will have 3 different ways to solve them. One of the ways is you can solve it by rolling a certain number of skulls. The other way is to solve it by rolling a certain number of shields. The other way is to solve it by rolling a certain number of bolts. Once you solve it, you resolve. If you solve it, then you get whatever's listed there. It's usually a reward, and this time it's actually not a reward. And then you can do, you carry out its effect. So if we get 1+, so any one of those 3 things, sometimes it says 2+, but usually it's 1+, then we not only do the solve effect, we also get whatever's there. So in this case, we only want to solve 1 because it makes us lose a point, but we can place any horde in play on any hex, discard this quest. That could be very helpful. So it might be worth spending a point to move a horde where we want it. Now, if we roll 4 and 1, we actually get both of those. We have to lose 2 points, which is rough. So you want to not overdo it in this one. If we try to solve this and we fail, instead of solving it, we actually activate the horde with the lowest initiative. So if we have hordes on the board, they will actually immediately activate, and activations are never good. You want to try to limit as many of those as possible. If our hero is on a hex with the horde, we get +1 blue die in our attempt to solve this quest. So that will go there. And then the third quest to start the game is another one that has the red skull in the top right, Hungry Giant. Negotiating with these brutes is surprisingly tricky. Again, 4 skulls to solve, 2 shields to solve, 2 lightning bolts to solve. This one's pretty awesome. If we solve it, we choose 1 legion or horde, then roll a black die and apply all damage to it, then discard this quest. If our hero is on a highlands, +1 blue die to try to solve. If we fail, as solved, but choose a hex of the most player units, and put them in the chaos graveyard. So we have to basically do damage to ourselves if we try to solve this and we fail. So that would be bad. If we solve it with the skulls, we get 1 point. If we solve it with the shields, which is pretty doable with Yanni, hopefully, then we actually get to take a second black die to the roll when we do the damage to the Legion or the Horde. Now, if any of these had like a 2+, if I do the 1+, if I solve one of those 3 things, I don't get that unless I actually solve the quest. So we'll kind of see that play as we go. I need to mute this for a sec. All right, get my obligatory, lingering COVID cough out of the way early in today's playthrough. So we have passed the first player token left. Well, the first player token will start with Syndra. It will just stay there for the first round. Event phase, add 2 threat to all legions and hordes in play. There are no legions, there are no hordes. There normally will not be. There is a quest, at least one quest that will add a legion to the game right from the get-go. That's not always a great thing. Now we are going to have the first player draw and resolve the next, or draw and read the next event. So we're looking at the event for chapter 1. You will note, you haven't seen any yet, there are some things that I wanted, there have been some errata, so you'll see some things that I hand wrote on to make sure I'm playing by the most current rules. Our first event is another thing that has one of these red skulls. So this is going to be one of the harder ones. So Uprising, threat 4. It is said that the first true rebels in Azul were the gladiators in Norngard, whose revolt was bloodily crushed, but sparked the uprising in the hearts of the survivors. Every player may place 2 of their little action points here on the market action to place one of their cheapest elite units in their home hex. That is not worth it to me. I could see an argument for it, but your action points are so limited. I do not want to spend 2 of them right off the bat to place an elite unit. It's just not how I like to play. So I'm not going to do that. And why the mortals were captivated, if it was 1, I would do it. But 2, like action points, no. There's other things I'm going to want to do, including getting items, including maybe attempting that quest. This one I'm not totally in love with. So I think we're better off not doing that. All right, and why the mortals were captivated with themselves. Dark storm clouds rose on the horizon. We're going to place 1 horde at threat 4 in the Howling White, not adjacent to a haven. Now note, this number down here normally determines the threat level of the unit of a horde or a legion that's being added to the game. If we add a horde or a legion during a round to determine what their starting threat level is, generally speaking, we're going to look to that number. Some of the legions or hordes have like special instructions when they're added. But we're going to take the top horde off the horde deck, and we're going to put them at threat 4. How do we determine threat? Of course, another thing with our red skull. So we're starting off real good, people. We're going to put this down here and threat 4 to determine that's what a threat level is. For a horde or a legion to die, you need to get this little level all the way down to 0. So basically this has 4 hit points. As it dies, though, its attacks are going to get weaker and weaker because the dice that it's rolling, both the quality of the dice and the quantity of the dice will go down as it loses life. So we have the Stormbringer, a crack and splinter of ice, then a foul smealing, I guess that's a typo, I like smealing, a smealing mist over the seas. Immediate trembling earth, activate the Stormbringer. You do not need an activation to activate. So we have to put him somewhere in the Howling White. This is the Howling White here, this the Howling White here, and we know he's immediately going to activate, which is going to be a problem, as you'll see. So I'm going to get the Stormbringer little thing here. Nice little, array of swirling bones and whatnot. And we're going to put him in the Howling White. And do I want to try to kill him this round? I think I do. We cannot roll archery against him, which is super rough. I will put him... We'll put him here. Now he immediately activates. So when a horde activates, the first thing they're going to do is place a curse on their space. If there already was a curse, then they would actually get a point instead. And now he's going to activate. Now, where is he activating to? Well, his preference to activate is he's going to go into a hex that has enemies. The rule book is clear as day. The cheat sheet, one of the minor complaints I have, when it says that you activate a horde or a legion, it says that you go to a hex if you can't get to a hex with a haven, which is always first priority, then you want to go to a hex with the fewest enemy units. The fewest is not 0, so it's fewest enemy units, minimum 1. So even though this has less enemy units than that, it still will move here, and hopefully we'll be able to try to kill it there this turn. It'll be a little tough, but I think we have an outside shot. That's rough. So I'm trying to think if I really want to go there with him, because I think Yanni, the next one's going to go in the Fog Grave. Yeah, let me put it over here. I think that Syndra's going to have a better chance of dealing with the Stormbringer this round than I will. So then then Yanni will. So the Stormbringer's going to activate and move here. So I can move the Stormbringer here or here because they both have 1 enemy unit. We're going to move the Stormbringer here. So even though this is not an explored hex, there's still going to be a battle. What's the battle? Well, normally a 1 garrison will roll 1 white die. That's all on the board. This board is full of really helpful information, especially as you learn in the game. However, since we're skipping archery against the Stormbringer, instead the Stormbringer alone is going to roll a die. The Stormbringer rolls 1 black die. Bam, it does 1 damage. It kills the garrison. When a chaos kills a garrison or when a legion kills a skeleton, they do not get points immediately like you would as the player, but you just put that in their graveyard. So this is the Chaos Graveyard is for all things that the Chaos has killed. The Imperial Graveyard is for all things that the Imperials have killed, with 1 exception. If the Imperials kill a Chaos or a Chaos kill, or if the Chaos kills a Legion, they score those points immediately, just like the player would. And now the Stormbringer is going to go here. Here's going to be our little lineup of our legions and our legions and our hordes, and that's going to determine the order that they activate in. All right, so the Stormbringer just went and has already taken out 1 of the garrisons and is now very close to the capital. Note, in future activations, the Stormbringer will never move to a hex unless there's a special effect of some sort. He'll never move to a hex that is further away from the capital than where he currently is. So if he activates again, he'll go here or here because they have the fewest enemy units, but he would never go here or here. So I can put a haven there safely, knowing that even though the Stormbringer's first priority is havens, that still means that he would not move further away from the capital to get to my haven, even if I put a haven right next to him. All right, so that's helpful to remember. Now, place 1 horde at threat 4 in the Fog Grave. So we're going to take the next horde off the deck. So we've already gone through 2 of these 5 hordes. And this one's going in the Fog Grave. Yikes. So where do I want to put him? The Counter of Omens. The cemeteries of the curse were rich prey for this crawling nightmare. So immediately he's going to put 2 skeletons on his hex. And I can't put it adjacent to a haven, so I can't put it there. I will put the Counter of Omens here. And again, immediately I put 2 skeletons on his hex. So now we have 6 skeletons on the board to deal with before we can get rid of the Cleanse the Wastes. And he comes in, again, level 4, and we will put him here. Notably, because he has an initiative of a 13, so he is going to go to the left of the Stormbringer. Notably, if you're in a battle on a hex that has a curse, the only people that can use bolts during that battle would be the chaos. So your bolt powers are nullified, but importantly, the Legion's bolt powers and the Imperial's bolt powers are also nullified, and that could be really helpful to fight a Legion, on a place with a curse. All right, now if I'm fighting a horde on a place that does not have a curse, it's fine. I can use my god powers like normal. So we have 2 hordes on the board. We have satisfied this entire event, so we'll put this over here on our sideboard, and now we can move on. Place 1 activation token on each horde and legion in play. So these are the activation tokens. They're 2-sided. 1 side's for the legion, 1 side's for the horde, and we'll just put 1 on top of the Counter of Omens, 1 on the Stormbringer. This is how many times they are going to move in the later in the round in the Nemesis phase. And remember, every time they move, they're going to place a curse, and curses are going to get them points. So we're going to want to try to limit how many times they activate. We go to the build phase. With each hero, we're going to look at their top 2 feats. So we have Syndra over here, caravans, items cost 1 less, assault, and when you discard an item, you gain assault. That could be useful for Syndra. But then we also have this, actions, discard this when you make a roll outside of combat to double the dice you roll. I think caravans is more helpful than informants, so I'm going to go ahead and do caravans. Yanni's going to do a lot of my quests. I don't love both of these early, but caravans will be helpful. At least I can get some of those items, and I'm already eyeing a couple of those items anyway. Plus, Syndra has other ways to use salt, so saving salt with caravans could be really helpful. Now, Yanni's feats, we have War Song, Clash. If you have 2+ Oath Sworn here, gain a blue die. And then we have Archery. This is a War Song. Then we have Traps, Archery, ignore a skull or a shield on one of your enemy's dice before damage once per round on your hero's hex. I actually really like Traps for Yanni a lot more than I do like War Song, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now we're going to go to the next part of the build phase, which is build any units, towers, or walls from the reserve or any of your havens, max 5 units per hex. If you have no haven, choose one explored empty hex. Now, the tower, so these are the units. We could also build towers or walls. So if I spent a plunder, I can add a wall to one of my towers. That would give me an extra blue die during clash. Or if I got a tower, this would give me an extra white die, not only during clash, but also during range, because it's like a tower. Importantly, though, if these are say I have a tower and a wall, but I leave my haven undefended, and say the skeletons activate, if the skeleton went in there, those I would not roll a die. I need at least one unit there for the tower to be active. And again, if you ever have enemy units in a place where one of your havens is, and the haven is undefended, then the haven gets removed from the board. That's super bad. Importantly, through trial and error, one of these I've learned is 2 of the 7 chapter 2 event cards will activate the skeletons. So leaving your haven undefended is probably a bad idea, because losing havens is very, very costly for the player. So I'm going to try to protect my havens at all costs. All right, so I do need to build with Syndra. Again, Syndra's building up there. And I have my starting 15 resources. So we get +1 shield for every Beastmaster during clash. So let me see if it makes sense to build a Beastmaster. So I'm going to spend 3 food, and I'm going to spend 2 salt to get a Beastmaster. That's 1 unit. And now let me get my Sword Sisters. My basic archers are very expensive. I love archers, but oof, they're hard to afford early. She does want to get here. That's going to be her best place to get some salt. So maybe she can take down the Stormbringer. If I can actually accomplish that, weaken him, I might be able to take the Stormbringer out this turn. I think that's a priority right now. So now I'm going to go ahead and spend the 3 and 3. So I spent a total of 11 resources. I have 3 Storm Sisters on the board, and they're all going to go into my home haven. My problem is I'm worried about leaving that undefended, and I don't see any good way to add units. So that's a little scary. So these come out. I've spent those. And now we're going to do the same build activity for Yanni over here. Yanni, ugh, her her setup's rough. I think Yanni's gonna try to get. She does have access to plunder. So you can only build havens during the round. Havens cost plunder, so you want to make sure you have the plunder available, and you also are going to need food to command your units around, and we'll kind of see that play out. I definitely can't afford a Kolith Rider. That's just going to be too much. I mean, part of me is like, maybe I should have done the 2 to get the Kolith Rider out. I just think that's still a little bit crazy. I think with Yanni, if I can kind of explore those 2 things this round, that's a good round for me. And she's just might be a little bit more conservative. So I'll just spend do I just get 2? Yeah, I might not even get any elite units out, but that's fine. She has so much defense that it usually works for her. So if I spend 4 salt and 4 plunder, I can get 2 spear singers, and I can get 2 younglings on the board. And I think that'll be pretty effective. So that's that. Definitely heard it's good to, I mean, I've definitely heard. Well, I definitely like feel like I used to be trying to do too much on the first round, and I'm like trying to be a little bit more conservative. So we'll see how that strategy works. This archery field will really help make sure I survive some of these battles. So we're going to go Syndra's turn first. Syndra's going to try to make her way to the Stormbringer. And we'll see what's going on there. So our actions. Trade, you could always trade 3 of one resource for any one of other resource. You could do another kind of trade though that does cost an action point, where you would get assault, and if you were in the same space as another hero, then you could trade stuff with them. Well, you can trade, any items that you could use and stuff like that. So that would be fine. There's also move, so I can move from one place to another. That doesn't cost an action. That doesn't. I'm sorry. It costs an action point, but it doesn't end my turn. And then there are things that end your turn. Exploring always ends your turn. Command ends your turn. Building a haven ends your turn. Buying an item from the market ends your turn. Or going on a quest ends your turn. I have no salt, but I can get salt there. I do want to buy that at some point. I think that would be important. So I'm going to spend the 1 action point. Now note, if I had a salt here, I could go ahead and just move Syndra without having to spend an action point. So it's really action efficient. But again, I spent all my I spent all my salt in building out my units, so that's fine. So I'm going to do 1 action point, and I'm going to do the Explorer action. So I'm going to move to this hex. This is going to give me some plunder, and it's now Riga. So note, these are walls. The only things that can go through these walls are heroes. Your units cannot pass through these walls. Hordes, legions, skeletons, nothing else can go through these walls. The only thing that go through those walls is your hero. So we have Zoyoya kits still hunt for the helmets of drowned legionnaires in Riga. I can choose the orientation. So where do I want these walls? Well, I want access to the sea tower, and I want access to where Stormbringer is. So I'm going to just put this sucker here. I'm going to gain 2 food because that's what the tile tells me to do. Gets me up to 4 food. If the hex is empty, which it is, we add a garrison. So I'm just going to take the garrisons, and we're going to put a garrison right on top of that hex. You'll see this symbol on the bottom corner. That's basically a symbol just to cue you in, like, hey, if the hex is empty, this is going to be a hex that either favors the legions, the Imperials, or a hex that favors the Chaos. This hex favors the Imperials in that sense. So it was empty, we added the garrison. If not, reinforce, and then it says place 1 garrison on any empty hex with no X. All of these icy wastes out here all have X's, so we can't put it there. So I just have to put another garrison on any hex that I want. I will put this garrison here because I'm going to do some stuff with Yanni this way, and I know she's not going to be busy doing too much else. All right, so that goes there, and now there's no other benefit, so that is my Explorer action. That is the end of my turn. We now go to Yanni's turn. Yanni wants to explore. She has a ton of food. We might as well go here first, make sure we get some of the I'm tempted to leave him back. I don't have any. I'm tempted to leave one of those suckers back. It's a little dangerous though. There's like nothing that gives us there's just nothing that gives us an ability to wipe out that 1 skeleton. I really am just worried about losing my home haven, so I got to figure out what I want to do with Syndra. So Yanni's turn, we're going to do a move action and an explore action. Yanni's going to move here. She's exploring here. Ooh, lots of stuff. Lots of walls. So I'm going to orient this like this, so my units have access to both of those. So I'm going to pretty much want both of those. It is another woods. That's a swamp, by the way. So swamps mean that your red dice always become white dice. It could be good for certain hordes, especially do you want to fight them on swamps. But I'm going to get 2 plunder immediately. So it says Hermits and Madmen gathered in the eternal twilight of Duncanholm. It's another hex that favors the Imperials. Remove any skeletons here. There are none. And then we place 2 skeletons. Not skeletons. We place 2 garrisons here. So now it already had 1 garrison. It gets up to 3. Each player draws 1 feat and then discards a feat. This goes here. So I'm going to draw a feat for Syndra. It is something that can up her stats. I don't want that, so that's the one I'm going to discard. And then for Yanni, if you solve a quest, gain the reward of 1 quest goal, even if you gained it already. I don't want that any more than the 3 that I already have, so we're just going to call that a day, and that is that. So it's a way to cycle through some feats. And again, it was just 2 feats I really didn't want, so I didn't really have to make any tough decisions. They're both, all the feats are great, but it's all situational. Situationally, I didn't want either of those 2 feats at all. All right, so this is the woods. The woods is going to give a reroll up to 2 dice, so that will apply for the garrisons as much as it will apply for us. But remember, I have this archery thing that could be really helpful. But the fact that there are 3 garrisons there is definitely a little bit of cause for concern. So I'll probably explore here next, and then I'll kind of choose what order I want to attack these suckers in. We now go back to Syndra. Hold on one sec. All right, Syndra, what are you doing? Well, Syndra wants to mess some people up, but I think Syndra's going to she's going to use her ability. The items cost 1 less. She's going to go to the market and she's going to get this item, which is going to give her 1+1 red die in Clash. And then we'll see what the next item is. We have the Assassin's Dagger. Either one of my heroes to take it because they both have 1 guile. It costs 2 salt. Discard this to place it on a Horde or Legion card. When an activation token is removed from here, reduce its threat by 1. And now we'll just go there. Yanni's going to move and explore again. She wants to see what's going on in this hex. We are in the Drowning the Ruins of the Ancients, Grave of Robbers, the Swamp of Fernhala. Again, another hex that favors the Imperials. We get 2 food. If empty, place 2 garrisons here. If not, reinforce. It is not empty, but we do reinforce. So reinforcing, what happens is instead of it adding 2 garrisons, if it was empty, we just reinforce. When you reinforce, you add, if it's an Imperial control thing, you add a garrison. If it's a Chaos control thing, you add a skeleton. Place 1 activation on a Legion or Horde card with the fewest tokens. I will go ahead and put another thing. They both have 1. I don't want the Canner of Omens to move twice this turn, so I'll just go ahead and put this on the Stormbringer because I'm hoping we can take him down. Okay. We're going to have some interesting decisions. So that is the end of Yanni's turn. So swamp in the woods. This does make more sense. I think we're going to attack here first and then try to take this out second. And we might actually be able to build 2 havens with Yanni, which would be a very nice first turn for her. I'm going to go to Syndra's turn. She's going to do a command action. So she's going to spend 1 of her food. And when you do a command, you can bring all of your units from an adjacent place into the hex you're in, including yourself. So if Syndra was here, she could go ahead and do something like that. I might consider exploring that sea tower, but I don't think that makes the most sense right now. If I get some salt, maybe. So we're just going to bring all my units in here. And so we have the 3 Sword Sisters, we have the Beastmaster, and we have this. This is going to, I'll put a stone here to indicate this is where the combat is taking place. And I'll kind of put my units on their side during the combat so you can see what's going on. Now, I have no ranged attack with those 4 specific units. There's 1 garrison there. There's 1 garrison there. They're rolling 1 die during ranged. So they roll 1 die. They roll the blank. Half of this die is blanks. 1/6 of it is just a skull. 1/6 of it is just a defense, and 1/6 of it is both a skull and a defense. So fortunately, they totally missed. Now we go to the next phase of combat. I have 3 yellow dice. I'm going to be up against, there's only 1 garrison, a blue and a white die. So we're going to roll simultaneously. I roll my 3 dice. They roll their 2 dice. They do 1 damage to me. I do 1 damage to them. I can, since I have a Beastmaster there, I can flip that to keep that dude alive. I think that makes some sense right now. Having 4 units is important, especially if I'm going to try to bring down the Stormbringer. So I flip this to get 1 defense because of my Beastmaster, so I ignore that skull, but then I apply my skull to the garrison is defeated. So I don't have a graveyard or anything, it just comes out of the game. I get 1 point because I defeated 1 garrison. That happens immediately, unlike if the Chaos killed the garrison, where they get their points later. So that battle is over. I'm going to put all my units back in Riga, and now this is an empty hex where I can go ahead and build a haven on the next turn if I so choose. Excellent. So that was the end of Syndra's turn. We're going to go to Yanni's turn. Yanni is going to do the same thing. She's going to spend 1 of her 4 remaining action points, and she's going to command by spending a food, and she's going to bring all her units into Fernhala. Getting worried about leaving both my havens open, but I think we'll be okay. And now we're in Fernhala. So I get to ignore a skull or a defense on one of my enemy's dice before damage once per round on my hero's hex. My hero is absolutely there, so this will work. There are 2 garrisons there, so they're rolling 2 white dice. I have 2 ranged units, so I'm rolling 2 white dice. So I'll put my units on their side. And now we're going to roll these dice simultaneously. Note, these dudes aren't rolling dice because they don't have any ranged attack, but my spear singers do. So I rolled 2 blanks, garbage. Oh, and they rolled 2 defense and 1 skull. I'm going to use my traps ability to ignore that skull, so no damage to either side. Now we go to the next phase of combat, which is going to be clash. So the ranged attack phase is done. It's done for good. Now we just have clash. In the clash phase of combat, I'm going to get 1 blue die for each of my little younglings. I'm going to get 1 white die for each of my spear singers, and I'm going to be up against 2 garrisons. 2 garrisons roll 4 dice. They get a blue die, 2 yellow dice, and a white die. If anything had any red dice, you note that the red dice have become white dice because we're in a swamp. So hopefully, I have a lot of shields, so hopefully I can keep a lot of my dudes alive here because I would like to take out that sometime this round. So we roll those 4 dice. Oh, those 4 dice. So what happens? They're doing 1 damage to me, and I'm doing 1 damage back. So they're doing 2 damage to me, but I have a shield. I'm doing 1 damage back because I rolled very poorly. So I wipe out 1 of the garrisons. That gives me a point. But I also lose a unit. I'm going to lose 1 of my younglings and put that in the Imperial Graveyard because it was killed by a garrison. We go to the next round of combat. They're just rolling a white and a blue. I'm rolling 2 whites and a blue. That's a decent roll. So I did a shield and an attack. They have 2 shields, so we have to go to another round of combat because I did not do any damage. All right, so I rolled 2 attack and a shield. They rolled 1 attack or 1 skull. So my shield blocks their skull. My 2 attack gets through. I defeat that. I get a point. And now I'm the only faction remaining in Fernhala. That's going to be a rough battle there. I think I might be better off waiting till the next round to try to take that over and build a haven there, get back, make sure I protect this haven. Syndra. Syndra's going to... it's all expensive. Yeah, Syndra needs some salt. I do want to see what the Stormbringer's standing on. So Syndra's going to move and explore and go to the Stormbringer's hex. And note, I cannot command into the Stormbringer's hex because it is not explored. However, if there was a curse there, it would be considered explored, and I would be able to command in there. Curses do represent their own terrain type, and they actually nullify the effects of other terrain types. So we have the Black Ice, plagued by storms, bathed in dark twilight. We gain 3 salt. If empty, place the skeleton. Is not empty, the Stormbringer's there. If not, reinforce. But reinforcing where the Stormbringer is means that we're still just adding a skeleton. I'll get my 3 salts. I did move Syndra there. And now it says place 1 skeleton with other skeletons. I'll place the other skeleton over here. If you ever have to place a 3rd skeleton in a place that already has 2, you take the 3 skeletons off the board and you add a horde. So we'll see how that plays out. And now place 1 activation token on a legion or horde with the fewest tokens. Oh, that's super not great. Now the counter of omens has a 2nd activation. Uh-oh. All right. I think I know what I can do with the Stormbringer, but the counter of omens is now pretty much going to go here. I might explore there, see if I can get a wall and try to guide the counter of omens up toward the capital instead. That's going to be super tricky. Yikes. All right, well, that was a little unfortunate, but we'll try to figure it out. Syndra only has 2 activation tokens left, but she does have a ton of salt. I think it's time. Syndra doesn't have the greatest dice for this, but I think we need to try it anyway. Yeah, I think we need to try it. God, there's so many skeletons on the board. So, sorry, Yanni. I'm doing it for Yanni. So Yanni's going to do the quest. Nothing here adds dice to my quest, which is not great. Yeah, Yanni's going to try to quest. Well, let me build a haven first. Yanni's going to build a haven. She's going to command back here to protect her home haven, and she's going to try to do that quest. And there's things I could do with the counter Romans that will totally work. So I'm going to spend. So I'm doing a haven. So I'm on a hex. There is no curse, enemy unit, haven, or X. So I'm spending these 2 plunder, and I'm building a haven in Fernhalla. Syndra is going to also build the haven in where she's at. And now Yanni is going to command. Yeah, I have to protect these skeletons. I have to protect. I'm going to command. So doing this, spending a food, moving all my dudes back home. Note, I only have, since I'm in a highlands, I only have 1 range die. So I only have the 1 white die instead of the 2, because I'm in a highlands. There are some things that you can maybe ignore that effect. We just don't have that. Oh, Yanni in the highlands will actually have an extra die to do the hungry giant, so that'd be great. So it's good that she's back there. Syndra's got 1 more turn. I think she's just going to command her people home. This makes the most sense. If we activate skeletons will also follow the rules of Horde, so they'll never move further away from the capital. So I'm going to do a command action. I did want that. It just wasn't meant to be. I'm going to spend the 1 food and command these dudes to protect their home planet. Their home. I said planet again, didn't I? I must have said planet before. To protect their home haven. That's good. And then they're in a better place to come, and we can try to deal with this on the next turn. So Syndra's out of activation points. And now we go to Yanni's turn. Yanni's going to try to end this round by doing this quest. What are her dice? So she has 1 red die. She has 1 purple die. She has 1 blue die. She's going to get another blue die because she's on a highlands trying to do that quest. She's going to get a white or a yellow die. It is not both, even though they're next to each other, you get to choose. What makes the most sense? Well, if I get the upside of the shield with the white dice, kind of makes me want to gamble. And now I either need 2 shields, so 1/3 of a chance to get a shield on all 3 of those dice. So if I can, get 2 of those 3 dice to cooperate and give me shields, it's fine. Or I need 4 skulls. there's an argument. The math gets really funny. I mean, if I took a yellow instead of a white die, 2/3 of the time I'm getting a skull, but now I need 3 of these other dice to also have skulls. That's probably a little bit more likely. But I think I want, and the counter of omens is pretty gnarly. He's rolling, well, he'll only have 1 white die, 2 there, which is nice. Oh, when he dies, he adds skeletons. Oh, this is so gross. Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. Oh, I mean, the skeleton, when he dies, he adds skeletons. I mean, the skeletons might actually end up wiping out my things, which is annoying. White or yellow? I'm gonna gamble and go white. I just still think that I'm more likely to stumble into 2 shields than 4 skulls. I'm sure math majors out there are probably horrified by my decision. And bam! Oh, the white die came through, but neither of my blue dies did, and that's really gross because anything on my blue die, I would have gotten that or that, so I absolutely failed. So this doesn't get discarded. It doesn't say to discard it, but I do have to apply it. So since I failed, as solved, we'll choose a hex with the most player units. There are 3 player units there. There's 3 player units there. I'm going to choose that one, obviously, and I have to roll a black die and apply the results. So that was an unfortunate roll. I do 1 damage. I'm going to kill one of my sword sisters, and I don't know where it goes. Put them in the chaos graveyard. So that's going to be 2 more points for the chaos. So that's super unfortunate. Put this in the chaos graveyard. Okay, it doesn't get discarded. It stays there. So that was an unfortunate roll. I was really trying to weaken the counter of omens. I got some problems now. Yikes. Yeah, it's gonna go bad. I'm pretty sure the counter of omens is gonna wipe me out. I'm gonna get very, very lucky. And then if he doesn't wipe me out, the skeletons he's gonna leave is gonna wipe me out. Oh wait, I get to add another die with Yanni. Hold on. There's a chance this is gonna work. So I had this, the white die came through. I had this. I add another die. In this situation, the black die is usually what I'll add, because there's a chance I always either get a skull or I get a lightning bolt, and 2 lightning bolts also qualifies as success. I felt like I was missing a die, so I had 4 dice from Yanni's dice. I get an extra die because I was on a Highlands, and now I can add the black die, and basically 5 out of 6 times I'm going to win. If I roll a lightning bolt the way this panned out, this would be super bad. I rolled a lightning bolt. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. You would have added a lightning bolt because, again, the 1/3 of the die, the purple die, is going to give you a lightning bolt, and so that could have added up to a win. So basically, I just needed the exact badness that came out. So I got 1 lightning bolt, 1 shield, and 3 skulls, and I fell on all 3. So I forgot an ability, remembered it, and still lost because I roll really good. So everything else carried out the way it did. This is going to be a super problem. All right, action phase is done. Activate the Nemesis. So the counter of omens is going to put a curse here, and this comes off because he's going to move here. So when you do the activation, again, his first priority is he wants to move to a place that has a haven. There is no haven. He can move to a hex with the fewest enemy units. There are no enemy units near him. So he's going to move to an empty hex, and I could choose neither are further away. This are equal. They're both equal distant from neither of them get further away from the capital. This is equal distant from the capital. If I moved here, that'd be bad because his next activation, he's just going to kill that haven, which honestly might be better. Yeah, that honestly might be better because I'm going to lose that battle pretty terribly. And I don't want to lose my battle in my home hex. Oh, God, it was bad. Oh, what a garbage roll. Yeah, there's no way I'm winning that battle. I'm rolling 1 die. Even if I get him down to 3, he's rolling a purple, 2 reds, 2 blues, and a yellow. Oh, man. And the skeletons would wipe me out. All right. So his first activation, I'm going to have him move here, actually. His second activation, he's going to place a curse here and move here. He wipes out this haven. And I think that just makes a lot more sense. So both of his activations are done. God, that was such a garbage sequence of rolls. Again, I was trying, even if I wake him down to a 3, I probably get him down to a 2 with the Highlands. And then I have a good chance, but I mean, I'm still worried about the skeletons he would place when he dies. So yeah, that was just a super unfortunate sequence of rolls. And now the Stormbringer is going to activate. The Stormbringer is going to go either here or here. I need one of these two to die because they're just making life very hard and they're putting out way too many curses. So they're going to go here. He's going to place a curse there. I also don't want that to have a curse on it because I want to go there. So the fact that the counter of almost wiped out my my thing is probably good there because now the Stormbringer is going to go here instead because the enemy units are there. Again, your hero doesn't count as a unit, so the Stormbringer goes here. You can't use archer. You can't use archery against the Stormbringer. Stormbringer rolls 1 black die. Stormbringer kills this garrison. Stormbringer activates again. We put a curse here. Stormbringer goes into the capital. That is the closest enemy thing. Again, it wouldn't have gone there because it wouldn't move further from the capital. It can't go here because that's also further from the capital, plus it can't go through the wall. So now it's in the capital. You cannot use range attack against the Stormbringer. So Stormbringer is rolling this black die. It rolls a lightning bolt. That's 2 damage. So we have more garrisons in the Chaos Graveyard. That's fine. They get 2 points for any number of garrisons. So it's not like 2 points per. They have at least 1 garrison. They get 2 points. So this is fine. And now we go to the range. Now we go to the clash phase. I'm rolling a black and a white. The Stormbringer's a level 4. It's rolling a blue, a red, a yellow, and a white. And a blue, a red, a yellow, and a white. So the garrison rolls that. Stormbringer rolls that. So no damage, 1 defense. They're going to re-roll. This is his first activation token. It's gone. Blank, blank for the garrison. A bunch of badness. The God Power for the Stormbringer is it does 2 damage once per round. That is going to wipe that out. Now, the capital has some special rules. If there are only non-imperial units there, place 1 legion there. If you cannot, flip this hex. So we have the first legion enters the game. It is the assassin. Immediate imperial bounty, place her target, then that player flips their starting feats, place 1 activation token on her card. She's number 10. So I don't think she would activate this round. That's weird. Guess she would. I guess she would. Yeah, the activation token has to be carried out, so she'll activate next. The Stormbringer, this is their second activation. Activation tokens are taken away after the round. So the assassin comes in, and we have to place her target. I'll place her target over here on their car. So basically, her, just like the Chaos is always trying to get toward the capital, but it can move anywhere. It just has to be, it can't move away from the capital. She will only move in a very systematic way to get, that's the closest path to get to her target. But now they have to battle. She might not even survive this. So she comes in at level 4. Why? Because the level 4 is over there. The Stormbringer is rolling. You can't use archery against her. Archery and Badlands, she would get 2 red dice. Oh, we had to flip Yanni's starting feats. Who cares? She'll get them back. So it's actually good timing for the assassin to come out. And now the Stormbringer is rolling 1 black die against the assassin. 1 damage. So the assassin's down to level 3. Now we go to range combat, or clash combat. I keep saying range when I mean clash, and I keep saying clash when I mean ranged, but you all hopefully are following along. So the assassin rolls a blue, a red, a white, and a yellow. The Stormbringer rolls a blue, a red, a white, and a yellow. Both their god powers are exactly the same. If they roll a lightning bolt on their red die, they do 2 damage once per round. So this is going to be the roll for the Stormbringer. I'll actually put them on their side. Stormbringer rolls just, wow, 1 defense. The assassin, 1 damage. Rolling really good today, guys. So that was a total wash. Stormbringer, 2 damage. Assassin, 1 damage and a shield. So they do 1 damage to each other because the 2 damage minus a shield is 1 damage. The 1 damage, no shield. So she's down to level 2. The Stormbringer is down to level 3. They're going to go again. The chaos is, I think, running away with this game right now, unfortunately. Oh, so the assassin is now just a white, a blue, and a red. And the Stormbringer is a white, a blue, and a red. Nope. The assassin is a blue, a red, and a white. And the Stormbringer is a blue, a yellow, and a white. So they're attacking again. 2 damage and a shield for the Stormbringer. 1 damage and a shield for the assassin. So no damage to the Stormbringer, 1 damage to the assassin. She loses her white die. She's now a level 1. A white, a blue, and a red. A white, a blue, and a yellow for the Stormbringer. 3 damage. The assassin rolls 2 dice. 1 damage. So the Stormbringer's down to 2. The assassin is immediately defeated. So she's out. We give 3 points to the chaos. They go from 0 to 3. Now we're back to the same situation. This sucker is empty, so we have to draw another legion. Her target goes away. The next legion comes in at level 4. It's the Inquisitor. Place her target, immediately place 1 druid card, revealed if possible under her card. So this gets placed under her card, and now she is fighting the Stormbringer, who is just basically, this is a very strange first round, guys. All right, the Stormbringer does not, you can't use range archery, archery, that's the word they use, archery against the Stormbringer. The Inquisitor is going to place her target. We're going to place her target again on the Dukar, and she is number 23. So this is where her target's going to go. The Stormbringer is rolling 1 black die. It rolls 1 black die. Each thing is still on level 2. It does 2 damage to the Inquisitor. Now the Inquisitor's god power is nuts. If she rolls a bolt, every player loses 1 thing, the 1 point. That's even in battles that aren't involving the player unit, so it's super bad. The Inquisitor is now rolling a blue, a purple, a yellow, and a white, and the Stormbringer is rolling a blue and a white. So this is for the Stormbringer, 1 damage. The Inquisitor, of course, on her purple die, smashes the lightning bolt. So what the lightning bolt does, we lose 1 point each. She has a shield, so no damage gets through, and she does 1 damage to the Stormbringer. So the Stormbringer is down to level 1. We now go to another round of battle. Just a white die for the Stormbringer, and we have a purple, a blue, a yellow, and a white for the Inquisitor. Nothing, and dead. So the Inquisitor survives. She's down to level 2, but she's very much alive. The Stormbringer's out, and since the Stormbringer died, we give 3 points to the Imperials. And she didn't roll any lightning bolts that time, so we didn't have to lose the last point for the Dakar. But now, getting in there and wiping her out before she keeps making us those points is going to be high priority. So that's done. Woo! Drew says, me neither. I think about probably having heard about this game. That was crazy. Stormbringer's done, and we got ourselves some problems. Counter Romans is first next turn. Counter Romans will probably go there. I might try to get in there with Syndra, but we'll see what the next event is. So that is the Nemesis phase. We go to the production phase. Now it tries to do this piecemeal where it says, hey, get the resources on your card, then get the resources from the hexes that you control. I'm just going to do it all at once. So I have 3, 2, 1 for the Droon, and then I have 2 havens. So 3 salt, 2 plunder, 1 food. Again, you only get the rightmost thing that's revealed. I'm going to get 1 more of each, so 4, 3, 2, and I get 2 more food, so 4, 3, 4. So I'm taking 4 salt, 3 plunder, and 4 food. We now do the same thing for the Dakar. The Dakar have 0-3-1, but then they have their home hex, so they're going to get 1-4-1. So 1 salt, 4 plunder, and 1 food. And now we go to the scoring phase. The Empire is going to score 1 point for each hex in which there's at least 1 garrison. There is only 4, so the Empire goes from 3 up to 7. Then the Empire is going to score 1 point for each legion in play. There's 1, so it goes from 7 to 8. And then the Empire is going to score 2 points for each other unit type in their graveyard. There is 1 Dakar unit here, so they go from 8 to 10. The Chaos does the same thing, but the Chaos, instead of scoring for garrison, scores for the number of curses on the board. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 curses on the board, which is really bad. So we go from 3 to 11. There's 1 legion left alive, so 11 to 12, and there's 2 different unit types in there. It goes from 12 to 16. Finding a way to slow down that train is going to be the only way we have a chance to winning this, because the Chaos have clearly asserted themselves as the dominant faction to be contended with. We now go to the players. How do the players score? So I'm hiding that with the Droon's board here, but the players are going to score 2 points for Haven on the board. So the Droon are going to score 4 points, and they're going to get 1 extra point because they get a point for still controlling their home hex. So they go from 4 to 5. The Dakar have 1 Haven on the board, so they get 2 points. They get 1 extra point for controlling their home hex. So they go from 3 to 4. Now, in the final round, I could spend resources to give a player points, but the person who's spending the resources has to spend 5 of them. They have to have all 5. I can't spend 3 with Syndra and then 2 with Yanni. So for every 5 resources I have, I can spend 5 of them to give 1 faction points. This is kind of a bad first round, but it's not insurmountable. But I definitely need the next round to go a lot better. The good news is I still have some semblance of my armies still together for both of these guys. Yeah, I did that. Right. Imperials. Yeah, it made sense. I'm trying to think. I just want to make sure I still killed that Storm Sister. Pretty sure. They think they all survived when I was here. Is that right? Chaos. Because the Chaos had. Yeah, the Chaos had the Storm Sister, and then the Chaos had the. Yeah, so I think I still had 4 units there, so I couldn't have actually. I had to choose them when I attacked them with the Hungry Giant, so I did that right. I think I was thinking Syndra was over there, so it was 3 units on Syndra, but it was actually still 4 of my units, so that's fine. So that's the end of the first round here. So we go back to the chapter. I keep saying round, it should be chapter. I'm going to reveal a Druid card. So the next revealed Druid card is the Watcher. Archery and Clash, I can reroll any of my dice that do not show a lightning bolt, and that's before damage once per round. So if I had a lot of lightning bolts, I don't need them. I can reroll any of them by using a lightning bolt to trigger that ability. Flip all of your face down. I'm sorry. If I had a lot of blanks, but I had a lightning bolt, I could reroll all the blanks using a lightning bolt. Flip all my face down cards face up, so Yanni's going to get all of her stuff back. And so does Syndra. We have 8 action points. That's right. I had that clash ability. That's what saved one of my units. I was like, I thought I lost a unit with Syndra against the garrison, but remember I saved it, which also ultimately prevented the Imperials from getting 2 more points from having one of Syndra's units in there. We deal 3 new items, so all these items go away. First item is going to be the Zitrix Leaves. Discard this to add any die to any player's roll outside of combat. The Droon Watcher. Discard this to remove 1 activation token from any Legion or Horde. And then the Nethersea Compass. Discard this when you take the command action to choose any explored hex. All other hexes are considered adjacent. Could be pretty helpful. Deal 3 new quests. Remember, these 2 come away. This one stays because it has special rules. Hungry Giant was almost awesome for us, but unfortunately did not work out. So we have the Kalith Migration. The flavor text on here is among the Makalith was a legendary bull called Cuck the White. His skin adorned the scars of countless fights with his many hunters. So 1 skull, 2 shield, or 1 bolt to solve. It's only a 1+. If I do the skull, I could draw a new quest. If I do the 2 shield, place 1 rider unit on any of my havens. That could be awesome. And then the 1 lightning bolt, every other player gains 2 food. You get 1 food for every skull you roll. Discard the quest. If I fail, remove 1 of your units from play. So it just comes out of the game entirely. If your hero's on a bad land, you get +1 red die. Red dice are awesome for rider units, so that's why it's like related to the Kaldis. The Kaldis are a rider unit. Willing to fight after the Butcher's Scorched Earth offensive, freeing his captives and arming them for their revenge was imperative. 3 skulls gets you a point. 1 shield, you may discard any item from the market. 2 lightning bolts doesn't have any benefit, but it does count toward the 1+ you need to solve. Place 1 basic unit on each of your havens. Each other player places 1 basic unit on any of their havens or explored empty hex. Discard this quest. If you fail, lose 2 resources. Otherwise, the Empire gains 2 points. If your hero is on a hex with enemy units, you get +1 red in trying to solve that quest. Pass the first player token left. So give it to Yanni over here. I know that's right, but think about it as a circle. It's left. And now we have add 2 threat to all legions and hordes in play. So the counter of omens goes from a 4 to a 6, rough, and the Inquisitor goes from a 2 to a 4. Ugh, I don't love where he's at. First player draws and reveals this event. So the first player is now Yanni. The Frozen Fleet. So the threat level is now 5. It's another one that has the red skull. We are definitely in full-blown apocalypse. In the east, the survivors discover a fleet of Imperial war galleys trapped in the ice, but their crews had disappeared as if by magic. Not even a single frozen corpse could be found. Every player gains 4 resources. Don't mind if I do. So I'm going to take just dice. I'm not sure what I'm going to spend these on yet, so instead of actually trying to figure that out and then taking forever doing that, I will just put a die with a 4 for each of them, knowing I have 4 extra resources to play with when I do my build. But the Empire did not rely on ships these days, but on the discipline and combat experience of its legions. Place 2 legions at threat 5 on the capital, which is going to make getting to the Inquisitor that much harder. So the first legion here, threat 5, is a spy master. Immediate spy network. So Naboo might be corrupt, but his cunning made him irreplaceable. Place his target. I have to place it on a faction that doesn't already have a target at any of their havens, and it's going to go on the haven that's the least defended. So it's going to go on the Droon haven over there. Flip the most expensive items on the market. So this is a way that it just jams up the market. So that item is now flipped over. It's not replaced until after I defeat the spy master. So instead of having 2 items I can cycle through, I'm only going to have the 1. Enemies cannot use shield against him, but if destroyed, you get 4 points, and he's going to go here. The next legion is going to come in at threat 5. Is the courtesan. Yikes. All right. Takasha's playing of the Great Harp inspired love as well as madness. Now, place your target. That player discards 1 for the rest of the game. The good thing is I can't place your target on a player. It's going to go right on the capital itself. So she means when she activates, she's just going to be building up garrisons in the capital. Again, right now, the Chaos is a much bigger threat than the Horde, but than the Imperials. However, that could change pretty rapidly in this game. So she's super annoying in that the courtesan copies the unit, wall, and tower dice, but not the items or feats of her enemies. So you're basically fighting yourself and hoping to get lucky. So she comes in at a threat level of a 5. Great. That's that. Place 1 skeleton on this 1 skeleton adjacent to a haven on a hex with a curse if possible. We have a skeleton here. And now we activate all skeletons. So the moment has come. So they activate just like hordes. The only thing is they do not. Oh, wait, we have to put the courtesan and the spy master in the capital. They do not leave curses when they activate. So I put another skeleton there. So we have 2, 2, 2. I think just a 1 here. So let me activate the 1 first before I forget. No, again, what's his priority? He's not going to move further away from the capital. He's going to go to a place with an enemy. We have an enemy over there. He wouldn't go to the capital because, again, there's 3 hordes there, 3 legions there, and that's just insane. In the range phase, the 1 garrison is going to roll a die against a skeleton. It doesn't defeat it. And now the skeleton's rolling a red. The garrison is rolling a red, a white, and a blue. Skeleton, nothing. And the garrison just rolls a shield. They're going to attack again. Nothing, dead. The Imperials have defeated that skeleton. Remember, if I get all the skeletons off the board, that's good because then I get these 3 points. These 2 skeletons are going to activate. They're going to go here or here. We will just send them here for no good reason. The garrison's going to roll 1 white die. The skeletons do not have any ranged attack. 1 damage to the skeleton. It goes in the Imperial graveyard. It's going to be a white and a blue versus a red. My red dice have been decided noticeably blank this entire game. So a shield and a defense, and a shield and a skull versus 1 skull. The shield protects the garrison, kills that skeleton. These 2 skeletons, again, what's the priority? When you activate skeletons, you're going to activate them like hordes. They're going to prefer to go to an empty hex, so these 2 are just going to move here. That leaves 4 skeletons to activate, the 2 next to both of my havens. So hopefully I do not get unlucky here. I'll do the one right in front of me first. So these skeletons are going to move into my home haven. I'll put my units down over here so you can see what's going on in my home hex. And we know the battle's happening here. I have 2 Spear Singers still there, so they're both going to roll their dice. Hopefully we can end this nice and early. I roll 1 shield. I'm rolling really good, guys. It's now I'm rolling 2 whites and a blue, and the skeletons are rolling 2 reds. Sure, now I'm going to roll 17. Wow, that's so gross. Yeah, it's like the game. That's game. Oh, I should have only rolled 1, and I still rolled a shield. I can only roll 1 because I was in the Highlands. I was defended. It didn't work out. That's going to be like impossible to come back from. Like, part of me wants to scrap this. This is really bad. This is really bad. So it even gets worse. So I do 1 damage, which gives me 1 point. The skeletons do 3 damage. All these dudes are dead. They go in the Chaos Graveyard. And now they also rolled a surge that adds them another skeleton. So now they have 2 skeletons there, and this goes away. The crazy thing about that is now the Inquisitor, she has to retarget. She's just going to put her target here because I have no more havens with the Dakar. So this goes here. Sagitt says, well, I cannot remember any skeletons at Maze Night. Rolling well as always. Glad to see that. Oh, dude. This is a special sequence of rolls. The crazy thing is there was a rules question. There are no empty explored hexes, so I don't think I can even build units as the Jakar. Yeah, there are no explored empty hexes. Oh, never mind. The Icy Waste count as explored empty hexes. God, I roll so bad. Okay. But does it have to be in a place with your hero? I think the rulebook said it doesn't, but the chapter track does not. And I think I could just put him in an empty hex. Build phase. If you have no havens, place your hero on any explored empty hex and build units there. Yeah, I think I build here. Try to get my home world back. It's just going to be so resource intensive. God, it's really bad, dude. All right, these guys still have to activate. I have no range attack. Hopefully I roll a little bit better. So I'm in the woods. goes here. It's going to be a red and 2 yellows versus 2 reds. And wow, 2 damage and 2 damage. At least I succeeded that time, so I get 2 points for the drone. And these skeletons are out. And I have to lose 2 units. I'll just lose 2 of the Sword Sisters. And they are going to go in the Chaos Graveyard, which is going to give the Chaos a lot more points, but I still have my Beastmaster. So, you know, I have 2 Havens left. This is amazing. All right, activate all skeletons. I'm glad I was really worried about protecting my homeland against those 2 and proceeded to roll like absolute garbage. We are gonna go to the next step. So technically, Yanni's still there. Replacing 1 activation token on each of these dudes in play. Counter Romans gets 1, 1, 1, and 1. I have 4 skeletons left. If I can wipe these skeletons out, I can actually do that. So that might not be the worst idea. Curse hexes are not empty. If I can wipe, I mean, I really want to get to that too. Oh. Just go through that way. I mean, I'm just not going to be able to deal with the counter of omens, but he's going to, which means he's going to put a freaking curse there when he activates, which I don't like. All right, activation tokens are placed. Build phase, draw 2 feats. We have archery. I can make a archery and clash. I can have a lightning bolt equal a shield. And clash, I can pay 1 to turn any 1 dice to show a single skull. I will do that. I just don't have enough lightning bolts that I'm going to want to waste on that kind of stuff. 2 feats for Yanni. I can up my my stats here and get 3 resources, or I can up my stats and get 3 resources. So I guess I'm going to have 7 resources total over here. I'm going to throw a die across the room. 7 resources. Here we go. And what stat do I want to open her up to? I will give her a extra magic stat because it will really help get some lightning bolts. In theory. That should work. And we have a ton of resources, which is good. So hopefully I can do some cool things in Magic. Now, as far as items and feats, your items and feats can never equal more than 10. So I have 5 over here with Syndra. I have 3 plus 1. So I have 4 over here with Yanni. Let's build. Well, Syndra's going to be a little bit easier to build for. I do want to start getting my Rangers out because Rangers are important. The Spy Master is going to move here and then here. That's its definitive path. And I wouldn't mind fighting it here because there's a curse. Now, whenever there's a curse, I can't build a haven there. The Spy Master would not go here because it's going to be 3 to get there. So the shortest path is here and then here. So I can build a haven here pretty safely. Remember, neither of these 2 are moving anywhere because they're stuck, because their target is going to be on the capital and remain on the capital. So 4 salt. I think I just get a bunch of plunder with this stuff. So 4 salt, I'm going to make the 4 down to a 2. 4 salt and 2 plunder is going to give me a ranger. Salt. Try to build in a sea tower. It's not crazy. See what it is. Sea towers are pretty wacky. Sea towers also have a lot of benefits. I think I get my other Beastmaster out. So 3 and 3 and 2 salt, and then I'll do 3 and no 2 and 2. Wow. 3 and 2 salt to get another Beastmaster out. I still have 2 resources from this. I will turn that into a salt and a assault and a plunder to get a sword sister, and then I'll spend my last salt and I'll spend 1 plunder. So I have 2 plunder remaining to get another salt, to get another sword sister. So 4 units coming in. I'll put all 4 of them here. I do think it makes sense for me to try to get this sea tower now. So I spent that. These all go away. Salt, plunder, 3 and 3. All right, let's try to save. Let's try to save my friend over here. Nothing's allowing me to move curses, right? Yanni, what are you doing? We have 7 resources to play with. I'm going to spend, make 4 of those into salt because I have very little salt. So I have 3 resources left to spend. I'm going to spend 3 food to get my Colith. I'm going to move myself, I think, here. I'm going to spend 3 of these as salt to get my Spear Singer. No, I'm sorry. Those are the ones that are expensive. I'm going to spend 2 of these as salt to get my last Spear Singer. And then I'm going to spend 1 as a plunder. So that's 4 plunder total to get 2 of these guys. And I could spend these 2 salt to get another one. So I have 3 younglings, a Colith, 1 Spear Singer. And hopefully the garrisons don't get really lucky in combat, because I am going to try to get something back there. So I have 3 food and 2 plunder left. I'm hopeful. Actions phase. Let's activate some suckers. All right. Well, here goes nothing, kids. I'm going to spend 1 action point and a command. That's going to be late round. 1 action point and a command. So I'm going to spend a food. So I'm going to move everything into here. Now, the enemies, the garrisons will re-roll 2 dice, just like we will. I'm only rolling 1 die, however, and they will only re-roll blanks. There are 3 garrisons. They're rolling 3 white dice, and I'm rolling 1 white die. So they're not re-rolling that. They're re-rolling this, of course. So they have 2 damage. I roll that. That's awesome. So I can ignore 1 of their damage because of my traps ability, and now we go to the next phase. I have 3 blue dice, a white die, and a black die with my 5 units. The 3 garrisons are rolling 2 blue dice, 2 yellow dice, and a white die. So this is for the garrisons. These are for me. That's a good roll. That's a worse roll. So they rolled 2 damage and 1 shield, 2 skulls and 1 shield. I rolled 1, 2, 3, 4 damage and 2 shields. So no damage to me. That's more like it. 3 damage to them. All 3 of these are dead. I get 3 points with Yanni. And now we have cleared out this hex. All of my units will go in here and be very happy to be closer to home. All right. Remembering that these are explored is important. I was like, yeah, so all the icy wastes do count as explored, which means that you can never be like totally eliminated from the game like I thought I was for a split second there. Syndra's going to spend an action point to move, and she's going to explore this sea tower. Now, what's the deal with the sea tower? Sea towers are special. Units and hexes here are adjacent to any hex, so you can basically teleport around the board. If your hero is here, pay 1 salt less for items on the market. It is said that the Empire's First entered Azul through Hellhound Tower, gaining 4 salt, which is really nice for Syndra, especially with her feats. Remove any garrisons there. There are none. Place 1 curse there, which means I can't build there until I find a way to move the curse. and place 2 skeletons there. Now, the sea tower, the curses replace terrain type, but sea towers are still sea towers. So that's important to remember. But I want to kill these skeletons because, remember, I want to remove that. And this is going to make it a lot harder. I might audible instead and try to kill this counter of omens. Although, that counter of omens is super nasty and is going to add a lot of skeletons all over the board. And I don't necessarily want the counter of omens attacking the courtesan, because the courtesan is going to add a bunch of activations to everyone everywhere. Yikes. Well, the counter omens would go here first. There's no more curses to place on the board, so they would just get a point instead. So there's that. So at least that won't become a cursed land, so I can still build on it if he moves. That's what I have to say about that. So yeah, a couple of the towers are trickier than is ideal for sure. Yanni, what are you doing, Yanni? You also can't explore a place with a hex, so I couldn't explore there. A curse. You can explore it before a curse gets placed there, you just can't explore it after. So I can't explore there anyway, as much as I would like to get some plunder. My only viable options are, once the counter of opens is gone, there's gonna be no more curses on the board. I can try to go here and then around. So I think I do go back to trying to kill all these skeletons this turn. So I'm going to command. I spend a food. And we're bringing all these suckers into my home hex. If I had more plunder, I would consider building there first, but I'm only going to have the 2. So I want to build my home hex because it's worth more points. So everything's coming down. We have the same 2 skeletons who made my life really bad. They don't have any ranged attack. I do. I'm going to roll my 1 white die. I roll the damage this time. All right, it's turning around. They get a point. 1 point for Yanni. Done. We now go to melee, or clash. I have 1 white die, 3 blue dice, and a black die with my big freaking amazing elephant. And the skeletons are rolling 1 red die. It does 1 damage. I roll 1 billion damage and have a shield, so no damage to me. That's a point. So I'm marching around, just destroying the place. So I get my homeworld back. Really short on food. I do wonder if I try to take out this counter of omens. But then he places 2 skeletons. Red dice become white dice. I have my Colith, which gives me a decent shot. Brews and War Games. Hey, what's up, man? Looks like a normal game of Uprising. Haha, love this game. It's risen to my list of favorites, even though I haven't won a game yet. How did you get 1 billion damage? Well, a black die. Yeah, how did I get is amazing. The way I've been rolling. But yeah, I had 5 dice. And so I think I had 6 damage. I only needed 1. So, it felt like 1 billion. To a starving man, $1 looks like 1 billion, right? That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I'm worried getting my units in place to actually build there is going to be really hard now. I can't build there, which is super not ideal. I have a lot of food Basindra, though. That's crazy. Oh, I can use the compass. I get the compass to get people there. Oh, but when my units are there, they'll be adjacent to everywhere. That's right. I would love to see a Badlands on the channel, on the board. There is none. Definitely don't want to do that yet. All right, let me kill these skeletons. Let me get all the skeletons off the board before I start getting too fancy. Maybe. I mean, I'm really tempted to go to the counter, but the counter, every time he rolls a bolt, we get 2 more skeletons. But again, that could be a good way to just rack up some points. So I'm going to command with Syndra. We're going to move all my units into the sea tower, and then they'll be adjacent to everywhere. This Beastmaster is just chilling at home, but that's why I can bring him in for that battle. So I'm in a place with a curse, so I cannot use any bolts, but the skeletons can. Combating here. I'm going to do my ranged attack. I have 1 purple die because I have my elite archer, who is a ranger. He blanks. Oh my god! Oh man, it's amazing. So I get a purple, a red, and 2 yellows against 2 reds. Again, I can't use any surge, but the chaos can. Both are, but the chaos can. Plus, yeah, we're not doing that yet. So those, oh, they roll 2 blanks. They're rolling like me now. I got 2 damage and a lightning bolt. Remember, I can't use a lightning bolt, but at least I killed these 2 dudes. I get 2 points. I can't build there because there's a curse, but happy to take over the sea tower. Nonetheless, the cursed sea tower, but it is still where I am. So didn't lose any units, got my 2 points, and these skeletons are proving a useful source of points for me. Yanni is going to do a build a haven action and finally get a haven of hers back on the board. And now we go back to Syndra. Syndra is going to don't think I need any of those. It's just not worth the action points at this point. So I'm going to spend a salt to move to any hex. Oh, actually, yeah, that's fine. So I could use an action point to move from there to there because I'm in a sea tower, or I could just spend a salt to move there because of my teleport ability. Now I'm going to spend an action point to explore. Do I need plunder or do I need plunder? Oh, they're both plunder. Oof. Woof. Woof. All right, we'll put it here. Let's see what's up. Oh, great. So I can ward off any future legions, which is maybe not necessary. These 2 put their targets there. This one's targets on me. Next one I come out, put their target back on the Dakar. So yeah, I'm not actually worried about legions attacking me. But the problem is, it's going to cut off my units from my home base anyway, because of the way those walls are. So I'll probably want to come through this way. If I can get 5 havens in those 5 havens, hexes, that makes some sense. So the grim ghosts of Elder Crow jealously guard the tombs of the Elder Kings. I gain a plunder. Remove any garrisons there. So the garrison's just removed. And we place 2 skeletons. Draw an item and keep it even if you cannot use it. That's fine. Just more skeletons for me to kill. Yoink. This goes here. Draw an item. The item is Axe of the Giants. Clash. Pay a food to add a damage before damage once per round on your hero's axe. That is a 4 salt costing thing. I'm not that rich on plunder on food, but it can come in handy later for sure. So I can, whenever I need to, I can play a salt to show a damage to show a skull, or I can pay a food. So that's a really nice amount of flexibility if I can get a lot of havens out and give me a lot of resources. We now go to Yanni's turn. Yanni really just we got to get rid of these skeletons. These skeletons are super annoying. Now's the time. Let's do it. So I'm going to spend a command. I'm going to use a plunder. We're moving here. So all of my units are here, including Yanni. And we're battling these two skeletons here. I have one archery. So I roll the white, I miss. Now I roll a white, 3 blues, and a black against 2 reds. 2 damage to me, 4 damage back. I'm going to lose these 2 younglings. Actually, I'll use... I'm not attacking anybody else. I'm going to use this Spear Singer and the youngling. They're out. 2 points. Gets me up to 12. That would have done that, except remember, these 2 just got added. That skeleton should be there. And we have 3 units left, including my mighty Caliph. And they're going to all chill there. Now, I can't build a haven there, but I just wanted to get rid of those skeletons. And now I just won't have to worry about protecting my havens or anything. Now, the counter of omens is going to add a lot of skeletons at some point, but we'll deal with that when it comes. We now go to Syndra's turn. Syndra's going to command. She can command all these units here because, again, units that are in the sea tower are adjacent to any other hex. So they're teleporting over. And she's also going to get this Beastmaster out of here. We are standing in a highland, so I can only have 1 range die. I only have one archery die. I only have 1 dude with archery anyway. And the battle is going to be taking place here. I'm going to roll my purple. Don't blank again. Hey, we do a damage. That gives me a point. So we are caught up to the Imperials for now. And now we go to the Chaos, the Clash round. I'm rolling a purple, 2 reds, 2 yellows, and we're up against 1 red. I can use bolts here. Let me get these off the board. Keeping the board clean of dice in this game is always funny. So I did 3 damage, 1 damage. I'm going to lose a Sword Sister that goes in the Chaos Graveyard. And I defeated you. That's a point. I'm white. And that is all of the skeletons are off the board. With all the skeletons off the board, we both get 3 points. So I go from 12 to 15 with the Dukar, and I go from 11 to 14 with the... Why am I forgetting the Droon? All right, this is finally discarded because there are no more skeletons. It does not get replaced. It's not like the items. These suckers are going to go back here. Alrighty then. Oh man, I got a little bit of a problem with the Spy Master, but I should be okay. We now go to Yanni's turn. Yanni is going to get to a place with enemy units. No, that's not going to make sense. Yanni wants more food. There are no Badlands showing on the board. Yeah, this will make sense. So she's going to do a quest. So Yanni rolls 2 purple, 1 red, 1 blue, and a white or a yellow. I'm going to roll a white because I want shields. And, oh no. This 1 unit rider, oh, my rider's already out, so that's actually doesn't make sense. Let me go for skulls. I'm going to use a yellow instead of the white. The blue's there. And she's going to choose any other die. We will roll a black. So this is her quest. We're doing the Caliph migration. The 2 shields, unfortunately, won't help me at all. And I got 1 shield, so I did not get that. Every other player gets 2 food because I got the 1 lightning bolt. So we're going to give 2 food over here to Syndra. and I can draw a new quest. I might actually go ahead and just do that, but solve, gain 1 food for every skull you roll. Discard this quest. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 skulls, which will help get me around the board again. So draw a new quest. Sure, why not? What could go wrong? The Rebel Council. This is a great late game card. Unfortunately, I don't think, well, it's 2+, and we can get 5 points times 2 for both there. But if we fail, we place 2 activation tokens on the Legion or Horde cards with the fewest tokens. And then it's discarded. I might try it. I don't have a lot else to do with Yanni this turn. And Lord knows I'm going to need the points because the Chaos is going to score a lot of them. So we go to Syndra. Syndra is going to build a haven. Remember that haven is safe from the Spy Master because he has to go that way. Well, actually, I have a wall there anyway, so we can't even get there even if we wanted to. Yanni is going to, I guess, command her units back to civilization while we have the oh, do I want to command? Do I want to get over to that sea tower? I can command them there because it's considered explored because the curse is there. I think that'll make the most sense. So I'm going to do a command action, spend this food, and move these suckers here and move myself there as well. Syndra is going to do the market action to get this. Get the item. The next item it's replaced is Druid's Ale. Discard this to draw 1 feet. And then Syndra's going to spend Assault. So she had 3. I'm getting 2 back. And she's going to go to any hex because she can teleport. She's going over to Yanni's hex. With Syndra there, Yanni is going to do a quest. Yanni is going to do the Rebel Council quest. Again, what are her dice? There are 2+ heroes there, so she gets an extra blue. She gets a blue from her card, 2 purples, a red, and she can get a white because I do want to make sure I get try to get the 2 shields if I can. I need to do 2+, and I'm going to need 2 bolts or 1 shield. So, you know, 4 skulls I feel pretty confident about, and then I get to add a die. I'm going to add the black. I think did I remember to add the die? I don't remember if I added a die when I rolled for I don't think I added the black when I rolled before. I only had 5 dice. So this was for the last quest. It would have been another food for Yanni. If I added an extra die there, I don't think I did because I should have 5. I should have 6 dice. Now I'm having 7. And to be sure I win this, I'm going to discard this to add any 1 die to any player's roll outside of combat before rolling. Since I discarded a item, I get Assault. That's Syndra's thing, and she loves salt. And the other die I'll add will be another purple to make sure every hero gets. Yeah, I really want to spank those lightning bolts. So with 3 purples, I get 2 from there. 1 because I discarded the thing. I get the black because Yanni's magic. I'm going to get the other 4 because of her dice, and I get the extra blue because there's 2 heroes there. So Rebel. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm throwing dice everywhere, guys. All right, let me get this. So we have 5 dice from here, +1, +1, +1, so 8 dice. That's crazy. And I get, whoa, I did not get 4 skulls, which is bananas, but I got 2 and I got 1. So I did the 2+. We get 5 points times 2. So I'm going to give each of us 5 points. So 14 to 19, 15 to 20. Chaos was there. And I can draw new quests. Sure. It is Druidic Prophetess. My blooming is near. We must crawl quick. Reach forward, dig deep. 2+, take this card. When a horde activates, place 1 basic unit on any player's havens. Don't love that one, so probably will not do that. And now each hero gets 2 resources. I'm going to give Yanni 2 plunder because she's yes, we'll give her 2 plunder. Now we'll give her 2 salt. And then we're going to give Syndra 2 salt as well. That will help her get her rangers out, if nothing else. And this is discorded. So that was a very nice turn of events. And I'm still throwing dice. Purple die down. I'll get it later. We now go to Syndra's turn. Syndra has 1 more action point. She's going to spend assault. Notice she... Now, she's going to try to do this. So she's going to do a quest to end her turn. She's also going to spend assault to teleport. Well, she's first next turn, so she can just chill over here. And there's a curse. There's no enemy, so she will spend assault, and she'll teleport to a place with enemy units, so she'll just go with this garrison. She's rolling a red because there's enemy units there. She's rolling a her dice are 3 purple, and she can get a white or a yellow. She'll roll a white. All right, she just needs 1 of those 3 things to come in. A shield would be amazing. 3 skulls. Definitely can get unlucky here, but it is what it is. We have 5 dice total. Nice. So we got 4 skulls, so I get a point with Syndra, so she goes to 20. And now she has these 2 lightning bolts. It doesn't give us anything. Place 1 basic unit on each of your havens. Each other player places 1 basic unit on any of their havens or explored empty hex. So we get a basic unit on each of my havens. And then Yanni's going to go ahead and get a basic unit on her 1 haven. So that was done. The quest coming in really huge and hopefully saving the day here. Syndra is out of action points. Yanni has 1 more action point. Yanni, I think, is just going to move to the sea tower and get ready for next turn, which will hopefully give me a chance to build a haven there. We now go to the Nemesis phase. Out of action points, it was a really nice turn of events. The fact that I'm ahead of them temporarily is really nice. Now the Chaos is about to score 3,000 points, but just bear with me. The Courtesan is going to activate. Now her target is on the capital, so her whole activation is all she's doing is placing 1 garrison in the capital because it had none. Activation token away. And now we go to the Spy Master. Again, number 8. Spy Master is going to activate. He's going to add 1 garrison in the capital, and now he moves toward his target. His target is over there, so he's going to move 1. That's the closest path to get to that haven where his target is, and then he stops. This goes away. The Counter of Omens. Counter of Omens is going to go to a place for enemies that doesn't get him further from the capital. He's going to place a curse. Well, we can't place a curse. All the curses are on the board, so instead of placing a curse, Chaos gets a point, and the Counter of Omens is going to go here. Counter of Omens is rolling 4 white dice in ranged attack. The Legion is rolling, the Garrison's rolling 1 white die. This seems fair. The 4 white dice for the Counter of Omens is 1 hit and 1 shield. 2 a blank. Garrison comes out, goes to the Chaos Graveyard. Yeah, we can do a lot of, hopefully get a few more havens out for Dukar. The fact that I only have 1 haven on the board is very bad. Counter of Omens turn is done. We now go to the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor, again, just like the Courtesan, their target is there. So they're just going to put a thing here. And then this goes away. All right, so haven't done a lot with the God Powers, but ultimately feel like I'm in a decent spot. We'll see. Gain resources. Resources for the Droon are 521 plus 111, so 632, plus 2 food, so 634, plus 2 plunder, so 654. If I did that math correctly, seems about right. So yes, 6, 5, and 4. So lots of resources for the Droon and her witchy ways. We now go to Yanni. Yanni has 0, 3, 1, 1, 4, 2. Pretty garbage. 1, 4, and 2. But hopefully we can get a few more units out, get the sea tower, maybe do some things over here. We have enough plunder for 2 havens, so I don't hate that. We now go to the scoring phase. The Empire is going to score 1 point for each thing with a garrison. There are literally only 2, but it gets also 1 point for each legion on the board. So that's going to be a total of 5 points for the Empire. So 10 to 15. Additionally, they get 2 points because they have chaos units in their graveyard. The chaos is going to score 9 points for its 9 curses. They go from 17 to 26. Additionally, they score 1 point because it has 1 horde on the board, and then it's going to score 4 more points because it has units of 2 different things in their graveyard. Spear Singers, they all go here. So that's done. And finally, you know what? I killed a Spear Singer in that last battle with those skeletons. I should have killed a youngling instead. I definitely want that 1 ranged attack. So I just changed that up. It's a little revisionist history. You can write complaints to solo playthroughs, and you'll get a response accordingly. All right. The Chaos got the 9 points plus the 4 points. Oh, it also has 1 garrison in there, so it gets 2 more points. The garrison was totally hiding. So yeah, lots of points for the Chaos, which isn't great. Players, we get 6 points. So 6 points for the Droon because they have 3 havens, so 26. We have 1 special haven there. That's not a point, so 27. And the Drakar get 2 points and 1, so they're up to 23. We go to the 3rd chapter. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I will get back to your question, ID Jester, in a second. Hold on 1 second. And we're back. ID Jester. Hey, Greg, what do you think of Terra Mystica? I ordered the big box edition today. No problem. I'm just chilling, listening to your live stream, setting up a Spirit on the mess that I'll play tonight. Nice. I've only been Terra Mystica once. I mean, obviously, I absolutely adore Gaia Project, so I think it would be hard for me to go back to like a Terra Mystica universe. But the once play I had with it was good, but again, it was a long time ago, and I've just played so much Gaia that I think I have a hard time comparing. But like, yeah, the solo mode looks like it's solid. It sounds like they really did a good job with it. From the little bit of I heard and whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you if I love Gaia as much as I do, I probably would really like Terra Mystica too. Thematically, I probably like the fantasy theme more than the space theme, as I keep racking up on space games, I guess. But I think Gaia is just so good. I really love the research tracks. They're really really good. All right, let's move on. We are gonna go to the next round, revealing a Druid card. It's how to sack the capital. Again, one of the things you want to do is try to clear the capital. It's gonna be very hard to do. I try to use the counter of omens to my advantage, but I definitely don't want to give them a lot more points. Yeah, this is rough. All right, we got some problems, people. The Inquisitor went from 2 health and is now back to 4. Is going to go to 6, so that was a missed opportunity. So Wanderer is one of the advanced cards. Archery and Clash, draw 1 item from the item deck, give it to any player, even if they could not use it. That could be helpful before damage once per combat. So most of these are once per round. This is once per combat. This once per round. This is once per combat. So once you use it, you just kind of turn it sideways to indicate that it's out for that rest of that combat. We flip back all your face down cards. I had no face down cards, which is bananas. We go to regain our 8 action points. We're going to draw 3 new items. Now that item stays, remember, because the Spy Master is still in play. So he's messing up our items there. We have the Leviathan Harpoon. You may turn one of your dice to show one single skull, shield, or lightning bolt, but you need 3 might. Obviously, neither of my heroes can take that. And then we have this Bow of the Iceborne. Pay 1 food to gain a yellow die during archery. It costs 4 before rolling once per hero on your hero's hex. Once per round on your hero's hex. Now, once per round, there's only 1 archery round, so it's like during the archery round. Deal 3 quests. This gets discarded. We get 3 new quests. We have the Nethersea Navigators. Mastery of a blade chip and the third eye was essential to find the hidden Imperial Vault, noted in Shujei's stolen logbook. 3-1-1. If we succeed, each player gains 1 resource for each shield, lightning bolt you roll. Discard this quest. This quest is the Imperial Sky. Neighbor turned against neighbor for a bag of corn. Not corn. Corn would be a better story, but not the story they're telling here. Immediate Dark Wings above. For every player, place 1 garrison on a hex with a garrison. Place 1 activation token on the Legion deck. The next Legion you draw gets this token. So we'll put this over here. Legion deck has 1 card left in it. And we have to place 2 garrisons on the board. I'll place 1 garrison here. And, well, that's crazy. There's like no places with garrisons. That is very unusual. Counter of Omens has been wiping them out. And we'll put another garrison there because we don't really have a choice. So that's done. The next quest is the Intercept. Oh, this is 4-1-1. If you succeed, remove all activation tokens from Legion. Discard this quest. That might be good. And then Intercept of the Empress's Caravan. The Crow volunteered their Vargs to draw off Imperial attention in a frontal assault while your band made its run. 4-1-1. 4-1-2. If you succeed, gain 1 item from the market. Even if you cannot use it, discard this quest. If you get 4 skulls, it's 2 points. If you get 2 lightning bolts, it's 3 salt. If your hero's on a icy waste, you gain a red die to your roll. We now go to the pass the first player token to the left. Oh, Yanni needs to get her stuff back. And the adding 2 threat to all these dudes. So Inquisitor goes from 4 to 6. The Counter of Omens goes 6 to 7. Can't go up again, so it gets a point instead. The Spy Master goes from 5 to 7. And the Courtesan goes from 5 to 7 as well. Super nasty. The first player draws the next event. It is the Empire Strikes. I thought it struck back, but no, it's just striking. Threat 6. As your scouts report, many refugees are arriving through the Nethersea gates in Azul these days, among them a large number of scattered legionnaires from all over the mainland. Place 3 legions at threat 6 in the capital or 2 legions in a 2-player game. So 2 legions is actually going to become 1 legion because this is our last legion. And what's going to happen is, since we can't do another legion, the Imperials get a point instead. We get the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard is going to set its marker. We already have a target over there for the Droon, so this target's going to go on the only haven for the Drakkar. The guard refused to believe that their god was dead. Immediate defensive stance, place this target, place 1 garrison on every hex with the garrison except the capital. So we can't do the capital, it's only theirs, but we can't put another garrison there because it's already a 3, so they get a point instead. They gain 1 red on Badlands, and their god power is they use lightning bolts for 2 shield before damage once per round, so they're very, very defensive minded. So not the worst of the legions. Oh, I gotta put a little thing on there. If you like it, then you gotta put a little thing on it. All right, that's gonna go here. Remember, it gets the 1 activation token that was on top of the deck, and now it's there. Encouraged by these unexpected reinforcements, the Empire redoubles its efforts to crush the rebellion. For every player, place 1 garrison on the capital. Now, the capital's different. When you place a garrison on it, but it's full, instead of placing a garrison, you instead just place a garrison on an empty place with no X, or if there is none, you just reinforce. So we'll put a garrison here, and we'll put a garrison here. That's fine. Activate the legion with the highest initiative. You do not need a garrison token. We activate the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor goes to put a thing there. Since she can't, again, we just output a garrison there. Dunskies. This is very, very. I mean, it's part about this game that every game is like just plays out so different. It's like really wild to me. This is a very different game than others I have played for sure. We place an activation token. So 1 on the Inquisitor, 1 on the Counter of Omens. We've not seen many Horde at all. 1 on the Imperial Guard, so now it has 2. 1 on the Spy Master, and Ward on the Courtesan. Build phase. Draw 2 feats. Pick 1. Syndra. She can get a stat boost, or she can get the Sword Sisters. Flip this. Get 1 solve for every Sword Sister in play. Don't mind if I do. Syndra likes her salt. Yanni. Flip this to place a basic unit on a haven, or after combat, flip this to exchange 1 youngling for an Oathsworn. I don't love the Oathsworn strategy with Yanni, so I will just take the 1 extra units. Thank you very much. So I can either flip it once around, get a unit, or I can just throw this out and get an advanced unit quicker. That ability is very, very nice. Build. So we're building with Syndra. I think we're getting all of my units on the board because that's that. We have so many resources. It's an embarrassment of resources. So the 3 Sword Sisters, I will put, well, I'll put this here. I'll put 2 Sword Sisters here. I want to defend against, I want to defend against the Spy Master. So I'll probably just have those chilled. This is already filled with 5. So I have the 3 Sword Sisters there. I'm going to spend 2 to build. Oh, but if I can get there, can I defeat him in a land with a curse? Ah, man. Can't use shield. I'll beef this up. Ideally, I think I will do some attacking of him here while there's a curse there. Because again, his god power, discard your most expensive item or a feat without using it. Have a lot of items that can do a lot of extra damage. So I think it makes sense to try to take him out. He's only rolling 4 whites. I can't use shields, so there's a little bit of a sacrificial nature to it. But 1 big attack with Syndra could do a pretty good job. So all her stuff's on the board. Yanni is not as rich. She's kind of poor. She needs all the plunder she can hold on to. Oh, that's nice. I can do that, get extra resources. All right, I'm gonna spend 2 plunder, 2 salt, and I'm gonna turn 3 of this food into a salt. That's gonna give you 3 of these suckers, and they all have to go on my home hex. So 1, 2, and 3. Actually, let me do it this way: 1, 2, and 3. And I'll keep onto 3 food and 2 plunder. I like that. So out, out, out. Syndra's first. Syndra's going to flip this. I have 4 Sword Sisters in play, so I get 4 more salt. And then Syndra's going to spend 3 salt instead of 4 because of caravans to get this. And that counts as a market action. I don't have 2 guiles, so I can't get the bow and use it with Syndra. We get the draw guard lantern, discard this to choose a quest for the thing. Shuffle the quest deck and place it on top. Oh, that's interesting. Syndra could use that. Oh, I can't use this. I lied. Give me that salt. I would have liked to use it, but I cannot. I can't use any of those. Crap. That's so good. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna have what it takes to do that. I don't have what it takes. Now, let's go after the Spy Master. I think that's the play that could help define the rest of my turn. So I'm going to spend a salt to teleport. Yeah, I got this because I gained it from the top of the deck as reward. So I'm going into this hex. So the battle is going to take place here. There is a curse there. So again, no one can use their lightning bolt powers. And we have all these dudes coming in because I'm commanding there. I'd have to put the action point here and spend the food before I forget to do that. So we're in the ranged combat phase. Hoping he does not roll super well. He only has white dice, but he also has 4 of them. Remember, I cannot use shields. I have a purple die. And remember, lightning bolts are super useless for me. So I really want... Oh, by the way, this goes here. Didn't put this away after I bought all my units. All right, roll bad. That's not awful. And 1. So I can't use my lightning bolt. I can't even use it to like negate shields. So another thing you use for lightning bolts, if you don't use it for god powers, you can negate shields. It's fine. I'm just using losing one of my units. I'm going to lose the white unit because remember, lightning shields are garbage. I can't use shields against the Spy Master. Anyway, so this is like the moment of truth. I'm going to have a purple and 3 yellow, and I have a bunch of abilities to do a bunch of other things. I could get damage. I'm going to discard this. When I discard a thing, I get assault. And that's going to add a red. So I have these 5 dice. And I can pay a food to get another damage. And I can turn a die to show a damage with that. So we'll see if I can get 7 damage out of this. The Spy Master rolls a lot of dice, though. He's rolling 2 purple, 2 blue, and 2 red. Remember, his he also cannot use powers, not 2 red. That's too many dice. 1 blue. So this is a spy master, this is me. Come on, baby. Bam. That's not terrible. He rolls that, so he can't use that. He gets 4 damage. I'm going to spend a food to get another skull, and I can spend a salt to turn this into a skull. So I do 6 damage total. He did not roll any shields. He's doing 4 damage. So he does wipe out all of my units. But he goes down from 7 down to 1. Which should make him pretty easy to defend against when he activates later this round. Or I might even try to attack him again, but we'll see. That was very sacrificial, but I think it did the trick. So Syndra is done. We go to Yanni. Yanni's going to explore the sea tower. Now remember, this isn't count as I don't get the benefits of a sea tower until it's explored, so I can't be like, oh, I could buy stuff for free, like no, for 1 less or whatever. It has to actually be explored. This is nuts. We get the plagued by pirates even before the rebellion. The Empire fortified the sea tower called Zeegard. Gain 2 salts. Remove any skeletons. Place 3 garrisons. I just ordered the 2nd edition of Darkest Night. If they're watching your playthroughs, they were cool and very helpful. Terra Mystica with the big box has all the expansions that give you random scoring at the end of the game, which I know is a big problem for a lot of people, and also has the solo bot. Very cool. Clever Swine says, I'm here for the sleeveless shirt. Yeah, dude, it's hot. And I can't live stream with my AC on, so here we are. But yeah, you know, showing off the guns, man, clearly. And I also, will I flip this? I'll flip this while we're thinking about it to get 5 units there. Awesome. What is Syndra gonna do? Syndra wants to get another haven, and then she's gonna absolutely want to make sure we take care of the spy master. But I have a lot of things going on there. Spy master is only down to 1, so shouldn't be a big deal. So I'm going to spend the salt to move here, and we're going to spend this to explore. These dice can come off. Units and heroes here are adjacent to any sea tower. That's interesting. Stronghold of the Druids, a gloomy breeze caressed the ruins in the Netherwood. Gain 2 resources. I do want plunder. And then choose a player to roll their hero dice. Or obviously choosing Yanni. Yanni is rolling 2 purple, 1 red, a blue, and a white, because white gives me a better chance at a shield. And she can add a die. She's going to add a black because of her elder ability. I'll roll first, and then we'll tell you what happens. All right, Yanni rolls 2 lightning bolts, and she rolls 6 skulls. Every player gains 2 resources. I'm going to gain another plunder, and I'm going to gain assault with Syndra. I'm going to gain 2 plunder as Yanni. And since if I rolled 2 shields, every player could have drawn a feat. And then since I rolled 2 lightning bolts, every player gets a point. So 23 to 24 and 27 to 28. Netherwood is on the board. Don't add any units, which is if I fail, you place a horde there. I did not fail, but the garrison still remains. So again, that horde symbol is just the chaos symbol is to indicate had, you know, it's like advantage chaos, you know, if there was nothing else already there. In this case, it was advantage chaos had I failed, and we had to build. Ooh, those 3 garrisons are going to be super annoying. I'm going to do a quest with Yanni. I'm on a sea tower, so I get a purple. I get 2 purple because my hero dice, 1 naturally and 1 because of the upgrade. Actually, I put this on the side so you can see the upgrade because I know that's off camera. We get a blue, I'm going to add a white, I add a red, and then I can add any dye. I'm going to add the black. Now I'll add another purple. Makes sense. Really want to try to get rid of some of these curses, so. Alright, I got 1 shield. I can draw a new quest. I will probably do that. I got 3. Oh, man. Every player gains 1 resource for every. I rolled 0 lightning bolts with those suckers, which is super annoying. So every player gets 1 resource. I will take a salt here. And I will take a salt here. That's crazy. And we will draw a new quest because I got the 1 shield. It is Druid Sacrifice. Any Druid is willing to die for their cause, and many did. It's 2+. If you succeed, remove a curse. If I succeed, if I get a lightning bolt, I can discard a reveal Druid instead of this quest. If I'm on a hex with a curse, I get +1 yellow. Now you cannot use lightning bolts in combat against if there's a curse there, but you can use lightning bolts on a hex with a curse if you're doing a quest. I did confirm that with Dirk from Nemesis.Games a couple days ago. All right, so Yanni's done. Again, that was only replaced because that was the reward for rolling the 1 shield. Sindra is going to command into here. So we have these 5 units in the Netherwood. And the 1 garrison there. Again, it's the wood, so you reroll 2 dice. So I'm rolling 2 dice. The garrison's rolling 1. It rerolls blanks. That's a blank. It rerolls. Still a blank. I can reroll the blank. There we go. Hey, I got a god power. Awesome. So I can destroy the garrison. I get a point. And then, what am I going to do? I probably should have given those other 5 points to the Dirk before when I did that thing, just to, as I'm thinking back. God power. I can reroll any of my dice that show no things, or I can draw an item from the item deck and keep it. I will draw an item from the item deck and keep it. Give it to any player, even if they could not use it. The Degard Lantern, discard this to choose a. Oh, great. That's probably worth using now. So I'll just use it now. Anytime during my turn, you could do that before or after. So basically, I get to look through the quest deck and put a quest on top that I know I want. Things that remove curses are going to be ideal. Those move curses. Combat. You may move. Yep, here we go. Forest Spirits going on top. I'm going to shuffle the rest. So you'll see this next turn. Ooh. If I move this curse, I can get all the havens out for the Droon and even have a haven on a sea tower, which would be amazing. All right, that's done. That's done. So put all the units back in the Netherwood. Syndra. And now we go back to Yanni. I don't love this battle over here, but I don't think I have much of a choice. Yep, let's do it. Put this in here, 3 in here. So I'm spending 1 food, putting a command token on, an action point on command. And these guys come into here. So this is what I have in this hex. Yanni's here. Put this here. The garrisons are rolling 3 white dice. I'm rolling 1 white die. Remember, I can ignore a damage or a shield. Please don't roll super good. Oh! Please roll a defense. Yes. So I can ignore the skull, and I'm going to have a defense. So I basically, no harm, no foul here. I have a white, a blue, and a black. And now I'm rolling 2 blue, 2 yellow, and a white for the 3 garrisons. That was bad. That's super bad. All right. What do I want to do here? So I got 1 shield. I can re-roll those 2. The problem is he has 2 defense. Cancel the 1 defense. That doesn't do much for me. Oh, that was just an absolutely garbage roll. God, such a bad roll. Just trying to chip away. I mean, if you can, I mean, the black die again, 1, 2, I think 1/3 of the 1 die, 2/3, 1/3 of this die does at least 2 damage, which is obviously way better than the crap I just rolled. Oh, that's really bad. I had this thing where I could destroy my Colith and try to survive, but that's not going to work. I mean, I have to do it anyway, I think, just to try to get lucky here. But I'm not doing any damage, which is really bad. Yeah, there's no way I can do damage here. Even if I reroll damage doesn't matter. I can reroll and try to get another shield, and then I just kill 1 thing, and I keep the Colif around. I think that's worth it. Let me try to get a 2nd shield, so I'm going to do that ability. Try to get a shield. Nope, that didn't work. So I'm going to have to well, I can keep the Colith around anyway. This isn't the way I planned on it, but I have an outside chance of rolling a 3. Oh, that's really bad. Yeah, I'm going to kill these 2. They go in the Imperial Graveyard. 1 more battle, keep the Colith around, so I still have this special ability. 5 dice versus 1. Give me 3 damage, or 1. And of course they blocked it. So that did not work. Colith is out. Super dead. But again, I can bring him back for free next turn with the Call to Arms. So it's kind of a try to get lucky. Didn't work. But really don't regret the effort. Yanni's going to go back here. All right. Well, nice try, Yanni. Kind of. Yeah, I really wanted to get a Haven there. That was like my whole goal. Get a Haven here. If I remove this curse, I can get a Haven here potentially. That's probably the best bet. So let me do that. I'm going to build a Haven on Syndra's Hex. So 4 Havens out on the board for the Droon. Yanni is going to move and then quest from here. She's rolling her 2 purple dice, a red die, a blue die, and a white die. She can add any die. She will add the black. Yeah, I just need one shield or 1 lightning bolt. The 3 skulls should take care of themselves. Oh, and I add a yellow because I'm on a hex with a curse. Bam! Great. So I did this one and this one. I did not get a shield, so I don't get the point, but it does allow me to do some crazy stuff. So I'm going to remove a curse, move a hex, choose a hex with a curse, remove that curse. That curse is gone. right? And then I can discard a reveal druid card instead of this quest. I'm gonna discard this druid card to keep the quest around. If I can do that, might be something I want to do again, especially I want to get this curse off of here. Like, obviously, the Counter of Omens is now going to add another curse somewhere, but like, that's fine. Like, these are my 5 hexes that I want to get havens on eventually with the Jakar. We're going to go back to Syndra's turn. Syndra is going to... This hex is connected anywhere? Oh, it's adjacent to any sea tower. Wonder if it's worth trying to... If I can get the counter to go into the capital, that's probably the best bet for me. I do need to get units back into there at some point. Remember, I already have the white die from the tower. So as long as I just get this dude in there, I'll be rolling 2 white dice. He's just rolling 1. So I'm going to move and explore. Nope, not going to pay for the moving. I'm going to spend assault to teleport, and then I'm going to explore here. These 3 digs come off. I'm trying to clear everything out of enemies near the counter, so the counter's forced to go into the capital. Ooh, that's a great hex for me. Azir claimed the curse, opened the gate to hell, and formed Bruthguard. So gain 2 food. If empty, place 2 skeletons. It does not. If not empty, reinforce. We can't put another garrison there, so I'll point for the Imperials. Place 2 skeletons with other skeletons. There are no other skeletons. So when you place 2 skeletons, if there are no other skeletons, instead just place it on an empty hex. So I just have to place 2 skeletons on empty hexes. I'll place 1 skeleton here, 1 skeleton here. I don't really care about the skeletons right now. So this will go here. And we now have 3 garrisons to fight there. Remember, it's a badland, so riders add their dice. So that means I have 2 red dice along with the purple die and the white die. So I'm in a really good shape to wipe that out during the archery phase. All right, Yanni. What's Yanni doing? Yanni's going to explore. Oh, man, I'm not getting my havens out as Yanni. It's very sad. Yanni's running out of actions. Don't think I explore that yet. I think I command, make sure this is wiped out so this dude will go there because it's going to go to a place with enemy units. I'm hoping to wipe those out with Syndra. And I can command here and build a haven over here. That's probably smartest. So we're going to command with this food, bringing all my dudes here with Yanni, rolling a white die for my, oh, my bad. These are on their side. So 2 white dice, 1 white die for the garrison. I wiped out the garrison, point for Yanni. I'm not going to build a haven there because the counter of omens would absolutely wipe it out. But that's Yanni's turn. We go to Syndra's turn. Syndra's going to command everyone into here. While we're there, we're going to combat. And there's 3 garrisons. This is the site of the combat. 3 garrisons are rolling 3 white dice. I'm rolling a white die, a purple die, and 2 red dice. 2 damage and a lightning bolt, 1 shield and 1 damage. So I'm going to lose one of my sword sisters, goes there. And then I do 1 damage, or I can just negate. I'm just going to negate that shield with that lightning bolt. So 2 damage, 2 garrisons out. That's 2 points. Now we go to the first clash round. I'm rolling a purple, 2 reds, and a white against a white and a blue. That's a lot of damage. That's 1 shield. Not enough. Out. 1 point. Leaving that open. All right, Yanni. Yanni's commanding into here with 1 thing. We're in the woods, so we get rerolls. Battle's happening here. 1 die for the garrison. Doesn't reroll because it's not blank. I get 2 white dice. I get 1 reroll. I really want a shield. No, I'll just do. Let me reroll them both. 2 blanks. So yeah, the 1 skull wasn't going to do anything anyway. I take 1 damage. I'll get rid of that dude. Garrus is rolling a white and a blue. I'm rolling a white and 3 blues. 1 damage to shield. 1 damage is blocked. This is out. That's a point. These suckers are gonna be here and rebuild. Build a haven there for the first time. All right, Syndra wants to get all of her units out of there. So she's going to command. I'm not going to be able to move another curse, which is a little unfortunate. These come here. Yanni is going to build a haven. Haven number 2 for the Dakar. Not enough. And now Syndra is going to command with the food and move her. The only unit that can get in here is there, but it should be enough to defend against the Spy Master, especially with Syndra's Hex. By the way, I had a that was in Clash. I think I lost a unit during. I'm pretty sure I lost a unit during the archery phase there. So again, the Beastmaster 1 defense per Beastmaster hasn't really done me much good. So I have no more action points. So now we go to the activation phase. So the courtesan is going to add a thing to the thing. She can't. So instead we get. Oh no, this will work. Did I ever add? I forgot to add this dude. He's not going to go in. Ah, shoot. Right, because the counter is 4th. That's fine. He'll still take on the Imperial Guard. I won't mind if the counter doesn't make it here. I think that's better. So we have to add a thing somewhere. I will add this here because the counter is going to come this way. So I never should have taken that out. Yeah, that was a waste. That was a waste. What else would I have done? I didn't lose any units there, I don't think. I think I lost a unit there. I'm going to take a point back. And the action point and then I take a food back because I just rethought this. And I would have just done an action point here. So instead of commanding there, I would have done an explore here. So that's explored for next turn. And this is gain 3 salt. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do that. If empty, place a skeleton here. If not, place 2 skeletons with other skeletons. So it doesn't matter the order. They would just get there with each other, which is fine. Yeah, that just makes a lot more sense. And then I would just commanded, because I commanded here and here. Well, if skeletons activate, that's gonna be super bad. I don't think these blue. I would have just left the blue there. You know what? What I would have done, it's the same difference. I could have commanded here, left this over here, and I would have just got the point for defeating the skeleton, which I would have wiped out and ranged, so this dude would come back. And I'll put a thing here. Yeah, sorry for that. I was trying to get the counter to like not go to try to go center. I realized that's not possible anyway. So basically, I would have explored and then commanded there instead of doing what I did, which was command, which didn't make any sense. And I would have had to spend the food for commanding. Yeah, I already did that. So I got the one food back because I didn't command twice. I just commanded once. And so I explored and commanded instead of commanded. And again, I would have defeated him in the range phase based on the things I had. Plus, I probably had that archery thing. I probably shouldn't have lost a. Did I lose that in Clash? I must have lost that in Clash, I guess. I don't know. I'm surprised I lost any units anyway. All right, so I'm gonna go back. If I lost that unit somewhere else, I'm pretty sure I lost it. Did I have I had a full 5 there for sure. Yeah, so I would have just wiped out that dude for sure. All right. So I got the 1 point instead of the 2. I settled the haven there instead of here. And this is going to be a big problem because the Imperial Guard's coming in anyway. So the courtesan added that. That's her activation. Remember, her target is on the capital. She doesn't move. The Spy Master is now, if a curse gets placed on a land that has garrisons, the garrisons are immediately destroyed, but you can go ahead and build garrisons there later. So the Spy Master is going to add a garrison there and now move into the swamp. So we're having a battle. Singer's on this hex. We're having a battle here. My tower is going to provide 1 white die. I have another white die, and the Spy Master just rolls 1 white die. Ideally, I defeat this dude right the heck now. And I roll 2 blanks, because that's that's how I go. He rolls a blank as well. All right, we're in the swamp. He rolls a purple and a white. And I roll a white, and a blue, because now my wall triggers. Please do not roll a lightning bolt. He rolls 2 damage. I roll 1 shield. I can spend assault to get a 2nd shield, and that's all a clash. And his 2 damage is enough to defeat my dude, but my 1 damage is enough to defeat him, and I don't need to worry about him defeating the Haven, because after the combat, no one's there but Syndra. There are no enemy units. When he's defeated, his target comes out of play, and I'm going to be able to flip this over, get that off. We reopen the items. It is now the Horn of Yore. When you take the command action, you pay 0 food. It's really helpful early. I couldn't use shields anyway, but I didn't use a shield. I still died. I get 4 points. So Syndra goes from 32 to 36. Out. All right. This goes back. Now we go to the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard has 2 activation. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's bad. Imperial Guard has 2 activations, which I forgot about. I'm a sitting duck. He's going to go right to my home. And the counter of omens isn't even going to get there. Oh, that's really crispy. 6 dice, which is bananas. I have no Caliph. Yikes! Yeah, I wish he was a 13 and the counter one was a 12. I can't leave it. The way it is silly. It's not even gonna be like it's just not gonna be interesting. So building a haven doesn't make sense. The counter Romans is still coming this way. This has to be where his target was. I didn't have the other haven. So let me put the haven back. And I'll just command my dudes back home and at least try to put up some kind of defense. It's really all I got. Yeah, the guard's gonna crush me, I think. All right, so the guard's gonna put a hex there. It doesn't happen. Instead, he places a hex on an thing on an empty hex. He'll place this here. The guard activates number 1. This comes off. He activates again. He puts a second. Oh man, which is good. That's so bad. The courtesan would have put this here. The guard would have put this here. He moves here. He puts the first garrison here. That's really where I want the counter. That's ridiculous. And then the guard comes in. Yeah, I had to make that empty, so the guard had a place to put that. Now the guard comes in. So we're having a battle on my home hex. This is going very poorly. What I have known was the guard pulled in first. He was. I still had 2. I would have had an arm. This I should have done the rest from a build phase. So I'm definitely doing revisionist history. This is not exactly what I would do if I was playing my own, but I'm just trying to like make this a little bit more interesting. So I could have built that during the build phase because I ended up building no haven. So I know I kept on to some plunder for that. But had I thought through it, I was toast. So I'm gonna give myself the max chance of trying to take down this Imperial Guard. So again, we're on a Highlands. So we have only 1 white die. 1 white die for me. They only get 1 die anyway. So, but they're going to take a blue because the blue's a better die. So they're rolling their 1 die. I can ignore their shield during the archery phase, and of course, doesn't matter because I can't roll anything good with my archery dice all day long. Now in the clash, I roll 3 white dice, 1 for the tower, 2 for my units. I roll 3 blue dice, and I get another blue die because I have a wall. The Imperial Guard is rolling 2 purple dice, 3 blue dice. Well, we're gonna have to roll my blue dice first and a red die. So let me roll my 7 dice, and then we'll roll his 6. He's gonna get these 2 as well. So 2 shields, 2 damage. Yikes! 3 shields, 3 damage. Yeah, no damage to him. He's got 3 shields because he has that. He negates 1 of my shields, so I have 1 shield, 3 damage. So 2 of my guys are out. Yeah, this is not been a good day for Yanni. Wow. So bad. Yeah, Yanni's gonna have like just no points. Yeah, this isn't gonna go well. All right, 3 blue and 2 white for me because I have my 3 characters. Oh, 4 blue and 1 white. Sorry, so it's blue for the tower. They have the same dice because of course they do. So they're gonna have to wait for 2 blue from me. 3 damage, 1 shield. So these are both skull dice. Yeah, 2 shield, 17 damage. I did 1 damage to the Imperial Guard. And he just wipes me out again. Oh, it's so bad. So I'm out. No havens for me. Probably might have been better off leaving that haven there, but I don't think so. I think I'm just going to have to maybe try to get a haven there for an extra point. But all my dudes are in there. These two should have also been there. Yanni, what's going on? All right, and now he's there. He has to retarget. I have no more havens, so he's just going to put a target back toward the capital. Yanni is stuck there being like, dude, why do you keep crushing my home? So I lost my home haven. It's not good. That's his second activation. The counter of omens is going to come in and go here. So it does put a curse here. And now it's attacking. It's rolling 5 white dice. It gets a shield and a damage. 1 white die for the garrison, a shield and a damage, a white and a blue versus a black. I mean, I really wish he just killed the garrison because this is not going to go well. Black, 3 purple, and a blue. Just a bunch of hexes. Oh, cannot get a damage roll for my life. So he's going to add 2 skeletons on any empty hex. Let's get a little skeleton wall over here. He's rolling the same dice again. That's once per round after damage, but no damage is rolled. Now he gets another thing. 1 damage to the counter of omens, and 2 damage to the counter of omens. That's a little helpful, but 2 more skeletons, and this garrison's out and in the chaos graveyard. Any empty hex. Wall of skeletons commence. Eventually, we're going to run out of skeletons. Counter of omens is done. That comes off. The Inquisitor is going to add a garrison to an empty hex. There is none, so she's just going to reinforce this over here. Holy yikes. I'll reinforce this over here. Wow. Yanni, what happened, baby? It's not good. We now go to production phase. We get 522, so it's 633, 653 because of that. So 522, 1 plus 1 for each, 633, 653 plus 2 plunder, 655, and then 2 salt. No, I didn't have that. And then 2 plunder, 675. So 6 salt, 7 plunder. This is not going well, and 2 food. We have resources for Yanni, just 2 plunder and a food, which is, I mean, she has no units on the board. I don't even think this is worth playing out, kids. It's really no chance. When you go to the scoring, the Legion gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 3 more legions, so 9 points. That's 29 plus 4 more points up to 33. And Yanni's just getting absolutely dusted. Chaos gets 9 points for the skulls plus the chaos of omens, the counter of omens who never left, so 10 points there plus another 2 points, so 46. We can put all these suckers back on the board. These go here, here. So it's a little unfortunate. I never got terrain like up the gut where I could have kind of made the Legion dude kind of move around me. Syndra's game really came together for sure. So if you're looking at points, the Droon are going to get 8 points because they have 4 havens on the board, plus they have 1 special haven, and Yanni gets 0 points and 0 points. So, I mean, she's just totally lagging behind. I mean, at this point, you go to the next thing, reveal the next Druid card. The red hand is awesome. It's another advanced one. You get a skull, you can place, you get a skull, you get a lightning bolt, you can add a skull a skeleton on there, and then you can roll. But again, we have so many limited skeletons, I was never able to get the counter moments. I was always trying to get the counter moments to do a big attack, and just the way this guy came out, and the fact that if his initiative was after, would have been great, because then the counter would have just gone in, probably got defeated. But he never went away. We have so many skeletons everywhere. He would have gone in, fought the courtesan, so probably died. If he beats the courtesan, then he maybe weakens the Imperial Guard. Well, first he would have fight the garrison, so the garrisons go down, so the Imperials stop putting stuff all over the place. But flip all our face down cards face up. We get our 8 action points back. But yeah, I don't see a reason to play this out, so we'll probably just do a innocent surrender after 3 rounds. But at least you can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on. Do 3 new items. So Urn of Malice. I never understood. One question I have with Urn of Malice is, can you use it only in Clash and not use it in archery? But basically during every round, everyone has an extra black die, which is nuts. If you have that, your hero is adjacent to everywhere. And then this is flip this. Your hero can move 3 spaces. Not that useful for my 3 characters. All these quests go away. Yeah, I forgot the Imperial Guard had that extra freaking activation. Definitely changed things. So this quest allows me to remove a curse and get a point. Oh, that's great. This allows you to use your archery and towers. Use your wall and towers as like damage points. So instead of killing a unit, you can just take one of those off. That's a nice quest. 2 is also great. In Clash on Marsh Hexes, you get an extra blue, which could have been helpful. Passive first player token, we add 2 threat. So now the Inquisitor is up to 7. They get another point. Counter Omens is up to 7. He's up to 7. And Courtesan's already maxed out, so they get 2 more points. We get the next event. This event. Since the curse, steam and smoke have been rising from the mountains. Now with the rumble of thunder, the wrath of earth seems to discharge itself. Choose a hero to roll their dice. Yanni will roll 2 purples. We need skulls. I'm going to roll a black, a red, a blue, and a yellow. Again, I always get an extra die, so I added a black, and I already have 5. So I need 5 skulls. I got 5 skulls. If I did not roll 5 skulls, I would have to destroy a player unit on each hex. The eruption of 7 volcanoes brings down a rain of ash on the islands, which colors the legionnaires of Dracoria gray like marching statues. For each player, place a horde at threat 6 on an empty hex. For each, you cannot place a legion at threat 6 on the capital. So we're going to get 2 hordes. We get the banished. He comes in at threat 5. The Light Queen tells her to place a curse. So we'd have to deal with these clowns. That's going to give the chaos a lot more points. Then the activate the legion with the lowest initiative, or the horde with the lowest. We can activate the courtesan. We just add more garrisons. But the one we didn't see is Oda. The banished is interesting. Once you defeat it, it goes to the bottom of the deck and comes back. He's also annoying because he always has rerolls based on every revealed druid. So there's only 2 revealed druids, which is nice. So it wouldn't have that many rerolls, and rerolls do stack. So if he's only rolling 2 dice in archery, if only one's blank, he would keep rolling the blank as equal to the number of revealed druids that are on the board. So I'd have to activate something. But yeah, this is pretty much a lost cause. I mean, my next 2 feats are archery and clash. Hit and run if your enemy has more units or threat. Gain a blue. That's really nice. Actions discard this when you make a roll outside of combat to double your dice roll. I think we saw that in the first round. Archery and clash. Flip this to lose a shield and gain a lightning bolt. Not the greatest. Clash, if you have 2 plus Osmoron, gain a blue, but I would never have that. So I am going to surrender. Yanni is just never getting up there. Pretty sure we can do a lot of cool things with Syndra. But even that, though, I mean, I'd have to. I mean, the Light Queen around the board, Banish Queen on the board, I'd have to attack them. I mean, in theory, maybe I can go there up the gut, but I mean, eventually the courtesan would probably wipe me out because she's matching all my dice. And then she would, every time she rolls a surge, a lightning bolt, she's adding activation tokens to other hordes or legions. So I'll call it here. We will come back. We will live to fight another day. Well, I'm Clever Science says, I am wearing flip-flops and one is broken. Hey, Nemesis. Hey, Greg. Bit late to the party, but still wanted to say hi, hello. Glad you stopped in. Ugh, why do I try? Reddit is terrible for board games. This clever swine. Powell Mazur. For sure, we really need to get a bunch of publishers together and make a decent board gaming community at some point. Hey, Greg, what's up, Powell? Powell is also part of the Nemesis team. Thank you for joining us, sir. It's the cleanest camera setup for Uprising I've ever seen. Did you need to get your roof raised to get it done? Yeah, dude, this is, it's, this is as max as my camera can go. I assure you of that. Clever Swine, Pavel was a good card. Maliki was a good card. Yarol says, I set up a notification for just live playthrough, sadly it didn't work. Guess I'll watch it in the VOD. Pavel, dang, you're getting crushed. You can use earn a mouse in either archery or clash. But Pavel, so I can wait to clash and then start using it? Because it's every round, right? So that's pretty cool. I've always like, oh, do I have to start the process in archery? Because a lot of times I don't mind adding black dice for the rest of the battle, but I really don't want a black die rolled at me during archery. But yeah, that was just a really bad turn. I mean, once the counter wiped out my Haven in round 1, it was just like I was always playing catch up with the Jakar and just never had things working. I was really trying to use this Kolith ability to if I could have built a Haven here and here, which was my goal. So if I got a little bit luckier in this battle here, I could have had 2 Havens here. And even if the Imperial Guard wipes out my home, I'm kind of fine with that. Because then I wouldn't even have guarded it. I had a bunch of my units still on the board. I would have had 2 Havens instead of 1. I get an extra point from that, so it makes up for the point I lose there. And then at least I have some wiggle room in that final. But I mean, just the way the Chaos had 8 curses on the board at round 1, like it just wasn't meant to be. Their scoring just got absolutely bananas, and I never really had what it took to do a full-on assault of the capital the way they just came in, because they were just had the run of the place. I mean, Inquisitor being down to 2, but then still now she's already at the 7 was pretty gross. Palace says, yeah. Nemesis.Games says, you can wait as long as you want. Awesome. Imperial Spy Quest would have been an option. I don't remember. What is the Imperial Spy Quest? I think I lost that one early. I think I know what you're talking about, and it was really gross. It was the one where you can roll the black die, right? I think I know what you're talking about. Is that the one? No, Hungry Giant. I lost the Hungry Giant one, which was really bad. That was a huge turn of events. Had I won the Hungry Giant, I would have. Oh yeah. So I didn't do it when this came up. It wouldn't have helped me that much. I did the Hungry Giant in the first round, and I missed it. And I missed it in the. I ended up with 3 skulls, 1 shield, and 1 lightning bolt, which is so bad. Had I done that, I would have killed the counter. And had I killed the counter, I do think the complexion of the game takes a different form. But at this point, yeah, it'd just be an absolute lesson in futility to try. I mean, it's not even going to be that fun. I mean, Yanni's just absolutely wiped out. But I mean, I don't mind that. Like, I think the first 3 rounds were fun. It gave me some really cool opportunities. You kind of see what I was able to do with Syndra. If you're going to win this game, you need to kind of do the same thing with both factions, and that's where the tension comes in to be able to play that out. But I lost all control of this side of the board and just absolute curses everywhere. Nemesis is tough sometimes. Powell says, you got the Droom, which are pretty weak in combat early game generally, and Yanni, who's also pretty weak in combat early. Maybe not the best combo. Yeah, I randomized that. So this was a combo I had fun with. I played them a bunch over the weekend, actually, and I totally randomized at the beginning of this video. And I ended up with the same combo I've been using, and I like this puzzle. And I do like how even the difference between playing with Syndra and playing with Fëanor, I love, and I'm butchering these names, guys, I apologize, but I love just the different flavor, and it's subtle, but it's very much there. I just love how they all have a different thing they bring to the table. And Yanni was supposed to help me win that quest, and that Hungry Giant did not go my way. So that Hungry Giant was too damn hungry, guys. And just ate me instead of eating the counter of omens like he should have. But super fun, man. I love this game, and I mean, even when it crushes my soul, I love it. Definitely not the best player at it yet, but I'm still obviously learning. We'll be back. I want to probably feature the other 2 base game factions at some point, and then we'll get into the Arch-Nemesis expansion for sure. I'm hoping the view counts of this are good, because I would really love more reasons to keep featuring this game. and view counts do obviously drive some of my decisions. So if you like this game, put a like in the comment section below, people. Put a like and a comment. Do them both. Go crazy. And I'll obviously, any questions, comments, epiphanies, thoughts, strategies, things I haven't thought about with this game, I love all of it. I will definitely get back to you. Jan Jakowski, how did you get 8 curses in the first round? Which advanced hexes you could get to up to 4 or 5 hordes, but 8 curses? So, good question. So I started with 3 because I'm playing on Apocalyptic. I started with 2 hordes. Both hordes got a second activation, and I had one. I think I did the sea tower. I had another one was added for some reason. So I had started with 3. I got a 4th in the middle of the round, and then there were 4 horde activations, which was bananas, and I couldn't stop them. Don't put any archer units as Droon, just 3 sword sisters and Beastmaster. Yeah. I mean, the Droon really weren't my problem. Yeah, I only got sword sisters on the board. I only got the ace archer on the board for free. I don't think I ever paid for an archer. And at some point I had all the Droon units out there. So yeah, my first round though, yeah, I had a Beastmaster and 3 sword sisters, and it worked fairly well. So Powell, yeah, I remember when you were prototyping this game years ago, it was very different. We also had to feed a hungry giant. You needed to give him like 3 food to get him on your side. We ended up spending like 21 food on him. That's funny. That's funny. Cool. Well, look, this is great. Glad Nemesis. I'm assuming that's Dirk in there behind the mask, and Powell. Thank you, Pavel. I think it's probably a V. I'm sorry, I'm butchering names left and right, guys. I'm the worst. Thank you for stopping by. It's super cool. I do hope to have you guys in on a live chat before the next one. So we'll be in touch about that. We'll definitely do a game at minimum at least once while the crowdfunding is open. But this is a great game, and thanks again to Nemesis.Games for lowering the bar for me to make it easier for me to try it out. And I did go ahead and immediately back their next Kickstarter as soon as I was like, oh, this is really good. I want more. So, there is that. But let me get going. This was long, and I'm sure we'll see. Nemesis says thanks for doing that. Yeah, it's Dirk. What's up? So that was awesome, and 100% rock on. Very cool. But yeah, so guys, if this game, hopefully my playthrough does a little bit of justice to this game, enough for you to think twice about listening to Tom Vassell when it comes to anything like this. His haterade is strong these days for unknown reasons, and he just likes to punch down at good publishers, and I don't understand it. But that's fine. That's for him to decide. Not for me. I will just try to do my part to counter that. But we'll definitely be back with these games for sure. Tomorrow I'll be back with a playthrough of Dawn of the Zeds. Wednesday we got a two-handed playthrough of Wednesday we got a two-handed playthrough of Spirit Island. I'm going to do a no events playthrough with both Lore of the Deep Wilderness and with Starlight Seeks His Form. So that's going to be super awesome. Pavel says, I can't wait to show off the new stuff soon. Yeah, it should be super exciting to see, and I will be all there for it. My friends love this game. I played this with 4 or 5 of my heavier gamer friends, and they absolutely love it. This game has been a huge hit and a nice addition to my collection for sure. So but yeah, playing 3-handed isn't going to happen anytime soon, on or off camera, but definitely not on, because there's no room. This game is big. Emphasis on big. So that's about it. But this was super fun. I hope everyone has a great day and is staying cool wherever you are. And until next time, happy gaming.
Solo.